All right, welcome in. McElroy and Kublik in the morning, Tuesday, October 15th, right here on Jocks 94.5. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We have a lot to get to because yesterday was centered a lot about, I guess, really and truly, the South Carolina-Alabama game, 27-25. Alabama does get to 5-1. Would like to remind everybody of that. It's hard to remember sometimes.
Way to be positive.
Well, it's also real. You know, we had to have that come to Jesus with some folks on Read and React last night that, hey, when your team wins, that's a really good thing. And you should probably be happy about it. But
yeah.
There's a lot of Alabama fans. There's a lot of Georgia fans. There's a lot of Tennessee fans that just can't find a way to be happy about their team winning games.
That's what I tried to say the other day. I was like, dude, the sky is not falling. Here's the positive. Here's the silver lining quickly. One, if you're Alabama, you really outplayed South Carolina. I know it doesn't necessarily feel like it. And here's the thing that also is starting to irritate me. Like, nobody in this room for sure, very few people listening have more of an appreciation for Nick Saban than me. I promise you. Like, no one has had a bigger influence on my life outside of my own father than Nick Saban. Like, my dad's number one, my mom's number two. Nick Saban is probably number three as far as influence on my life. But we are remembering his tenure through false god. Like, there's false gods here. Like, he was 8-14 against the spread coming off a loss. Like, this whole, like, Bama used to be mad. Bama used to come out and just take down their opponent, kill their will. Not necessarily. They were 8-14 against the spread. So they didn't even live up to Vegas's numbers off a loss under the Nick Saban regime. It's like, you can love Coach Saban and acknowledge that, like, maybe we're remembering things through a slightly different lens. We can also look back to last October. Like, last October, if you think about it, you know how many times I had to text my friends and or family off the ledge after the first half of the football games against Ole Miss and Tennessee? And LSU, for that matter. And it all ended up okay. They flipped the script, they figured it out, and they got better. Like the Tennessee game or the Texas A&M game, was that a comfortable one? No, it wasn't, because winning is hard. So just don't press the panic button. Same thing with Auburn. Auburn's had the ball on their racket multiple times this year, and they haven't been able to close the deal. Like, the stars have had to align for Ole Miss to lose games. The sky is not falling. Like, they can still beat Georgia. Do I think Georgia can beat Texas this week? Absolutely. I don't know. I just look at all these teams that are like in full-fledged panic mode. It's like, it's too soon to panic. Like, back is not against the wall at the moment. There's just things to iron out and clean up. And good news for many of these teams, these things are fixable.
I wanted to ask you about Auburn real quick. There seems to be a lot of confidence that's beginning to swirl around. I've seen a couple people on social media. I've listened to a couple of shows. Yesterday in Charlotte, what was yesterday? Sunday in Charlotte.
They were talking about Auburn?
Treadmill. Yeah, it's starting to get into this week stuff.
Oh, I was like, in Charlotte they were? Like WFNZ? I was like, let's go.
No.
I was like, we've penetrated big markets in college football. It's great.
I will say I was listening to FNZ. I had to run to the store late in the day on Sunday, and it was the Panthers postgame show.
Yeah.
And I heard the first three callers into the postgame show, and two of them were about the draft. And the guy says, I got to be honest, folks, it's a little early in the season to be getting into what's Panthers going to do in the draft. Didn't expect this. It's kind of like, hang up and move on. You know, it's not really going to be that. But
no. Panthers, maybe. It's probably fair for the Panthers to move on to the draft.
I don't think this guy was ready for it, nonetheless. But there's a lot of confidence right now. And a lot of confidence momentum building where people are feeling good about Auburn in this spot against Missouri. Now, I mean, you and I have been pretty positive about Auburn and some of the things that we've seen, but it's also a team that's not found out how to win games. Like you just said, games on racket, yes, but also double fault a lot, unforced error a lot. And so I kind of wanted to begin to have a little bit of a conversation with you on it today leading into this weekend of, is this a spot you're feeling good about Auburn? Now, I will say this. This is a concerning spot for me because I feel like Georgia, easy team to get up for. top
Yes.
5 opponent, rivalry game. A lot of kids from that state on your roster probably didn't get those Georgia offers. Like that's always one that you can manufacture some momentum
Sure.
and ways to get excited about. It's not a hard one. But my concern, and you and I discussed this after that game, was if you dropped that game, specifically if you were semi-competitive and dropped that game, where would the mindset be then? I'm just because I'm kind of not seeing it, and I know people are more down on Missouri than I am. I feel like they ran into a bit of a buzzsaw against A&M and bad matchup. A&M had a great game plan, played hard. Connor Wigman was out of his mind.
Had a couple unlucky breaks too. A couple things wiped off the board, all because of self-inflicted mistakes.
Early, right? So I don't know. Where's your confidence level on Auburn finding a way to get this game? Because Missouri, are you? And this is not a slight against Missouri, but it's just, I mean, is Auburn getting pumped up for Missouri just automatically? I don't really think so. This one's going to be on the coaches this week. You got to get these kids excited, get them ready to play, and then. I also don't really know where Missouri is, but either way, are you confident in Auburn? Like I've just seen a lot of people saying, "Oh yeah, no, they can go win. They're going to get this game. They got a great chance to get this game." And I'm kind of like, "Hold on, now let's take a step back here and look at this." I'm not sure.
See, I think they can win this game. If they're not up for this one, like what the heck are we doing? I mean, seriously, coming off a bye week, bad taste in your mouth. You've gift wrapped a couple games this season already to Cal and to Oklahoma. You've seen Oklahoma now become a complete shell. One that you absolutely 100% were the better team throughout 58 minutes in the game, and you lost. Yeah, you lost to Georgia, but you played hard. Like that game felt way closer than it was. This is one, if I'm Auburn, I expect to win. And to be honest with you, if I'm Missouri, like coming home is great. That's nice. It's always nice to come home, but coming home is a big favorite when you're expected to just have this resounding bounce back performance can be challenging, more challenging than people realize. Look at Bama this weekend against South Carolina. Like things got tight in Bryant-Denny in a hurry because no one really expected it to look that way. So I think that it's hard sometimes when you are the favorite and you're not used to wearing the target. It's kind of hard to play at home against a team that's got nothing to lose. So I would be very careful this weekend if I were Missouri. Very.
From a matchup perspective, once again, we have a lot of time later in the week, but just on the surface, 1,000-foot view, how do you like the matchup in this game? Because the Auburn defense has been better than we thought it would be. I think there are a couple guys that have stepped up and played good football. I don't know necessarily. I like a little bit of the matchup because of the linebackers and how they play against the stretch. Keldrick Falk, I think, could be big against the stretch play, how he handles things, but also kind of being in your spots, not over pursuing. That's also a big part of slowing that down. I don't know if they're just as rugged up front like A&M was to be able to do those kind of things across the board. And then offensively, that Missouri defense is still active. It still attacks. Now, like we said against A&M, it attacked way too much in that game for my flavor, my taste. I don't think you have to move on every single snap, but it's not like Auburn's dealt with that kind of stuff really well. That's the kind of stuff that gives this team headaches, Greg, because they turn guys free and they become problematic.
Yeah, I would say that the movement stuff is challenging for sure. But I think you actually have a couple guys up front that could be a real problem for Missouri. And I maybe I've just watched too much Tennessee. Guys, you'll have to forgive me. I woke up at 1:30 in the morning. I have a 6-month-old at home. She wouldn't sleep. So I watched every single offensive snap of Tennessee this year. Am I sick in the head? Yes. Is it the best kind of sickness? Yes. But I got real used to seeing some top-heavy tackles that got beat inside a lot by some 4-eye techniques. And mostly in the last 3 games. If I'm Auburn, that's what I'm running. I'm running that against Mizzou. I'm letting my overhang players make all the plays in the world. Like I think Mizzou's offense, there is a more carryover to Mizzou's offense than I guess I had originally anticipated when looking at like a Tennessee or some of these teams that live out of the shotgun run stuff. Like I think I know Tennessee doesn't run as much stretch zone, but I think you can McLeod can beat these tackles up and inside, which will force the tackle to chase and then second level defenders can fly over the top, like Asante.
You almost force that ball to go outside.
You force
Like
it outside right to where you're waiting for him, and then you have the corners inside. Who's going to have to be good? Your corners got to be good in run support. So are your safeties. Which is good for some, not all.
Not good for all. Specifically one.
But they're going to have to be good in run support, and I think they can do that. I think they have a good enough second level defenders and disruptive enough D linemen to be able to give them some fits.
Okay.
Do you agree or no?
I agree with that, yeah, but there's also parts of it that you lay out that are very concerning. And then again, back to the offense, where you're going to have to shore everything up at the line of scrimmage and not let those pressures and the movement be able to get into the backfield. And that's where I kind of wonder. So it's an interesting matchup for sure. And I think where the two teams are mentally is as big of a question as anything that we'll talk about schematically. You go over to UMass and you play a kind of a ho-hum game. You kind of took care of your business, did what you were supposed to do. Not a lot of people are going to talk about it. And now you got to come back and play an Auburn team that might be mad, that might be excited, that might be motivated. I don't know.
I'm tired of this whole mad thing.
Well, that was just one thing last week.
I know,
my point is I don't know where Auburn is mentally right now. I have no idea what to expect. I have no idea. It was kind of like last week in our game, Kentucky and Vandy. Like, I thought it said a tremendous amount about Clark Lee and where that program is and where that team is, that you just went through the most distracting week in the history of Vanderbilt football and you still showed up. Did you play your best game at every spot? No. Was it the most physical game? No. Best executed game? No. But you didn't mail it in. You didn't lay an egg. And you had every reason to. Every single reason on earth to. And on the flip side of that, here's Kentucky, their best win of the season, one of the best wins of the college football season. They go to Ole Miss and get that win, but then they had a week off. So does that momentum go away? Are they able to carry it over? And it didn't look like they were able to carry it over. They looked flat. They looked discombobulated in certain ways. So it's a question that I think we're going to have answers to less and less because we just don't know as much about the actual teams as far as what kind of teams they are. And this could go to week 8, 9, 10. We don't know how it's going to look just because everything is so different now. But that's kind of, I wonder, where are these teams? Like, is Missouri feeling really good about themselves?
Probably not.
Who knows? I mean, is that A&M loss lingering?
Because if I were to guess, I do not think they're feeling very good about themselves. What do you think?
If they do, I think a little bit is under some false pretenses, probably. And maybe not awake to some of the real issues that they're having that need to be repaired, that need to be handled.
I think they're going to look back and they're going to say, we got problems at quarterback. I don't want to say that. I really don't. I like Brady Cook, but the expectation level was not for Missouri to be competitive. The expectation level was for Missouri to be in the mix to win the college football or win the SEC and get to the college football playoff. And I don't know if they can do it right now with how he's throwing the ball down the field. I mean, it's not, and that's unfortunate, but that's the reality. Same can be said for Nico Iamaleava. Like, when your offense is designed to create one-on-ones and you got to hit throws down the field, like, you got to hit those throws. So until I see Brady Cook do it with regularity, until I see Nico do it on a regular basis, until I see, Jackson Dart do it on a regular basis, like, I think those teams are going to be a little limited.
I don't think there's any doubt. And, the Tennessee offense one is a little bit different. I feel a little bit different on that one. I agree with you on the actual quarterback part of that, but I think the complaints there have been, it's figured out. Coordinators have figured this out. And, the play calling. There are some things that need to be adjusted. I do think he can sort of alter the way that he handles certain situations a little bit different moving forward and maybe get out of some tendencies in certain spots, but the system's not broken. I mean, it's what it is. It's just when I see receivers downfield being overthrown, when I see receivers catching balls down the sideline out of bounds, when you see balls going through guys' hands, when you throw into double coverage, when you fumble a mesh, that's not the scheme. That's not the system. That's not X's and O's. You got to make plays, like you said. And they've been there for that team. They hadn't capitalized. Now, the other facet that we kind of thought they added when we saw NC State, don't know if that's where we really believed that it was early on. That might not be as physical, as tough to deal with as maybe we imagined earlier in the season. So, and it finally feels like it might be cooling off, which is great news for me. I don't know about y'all, but as we head further into football season, that means changes in the weather are coming. Protect your HVAC system with a checkup from a trained comfort specialist. When cold weather hits, you're going to have peace of mind. You're protected by America's most reliable and trusted HVAC brand. Find a comfort specialist near you at Trane.com. And remember, it's hard to stop a train. All right, continue talking some games over the weekend through the SEC. A couple that we have not mentioned. We'll do that next right here on McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. So you let us know your confidence in Auburn heading into this weekend. It'll be a topic that we kind of revisit throughout the course of the week. 800-239-9569, 800-239-WJOX. Here's what we got for you today. Pat Dooley, 8 o'clock, going to talk Florida. Some brutal news for the Gators yesterday. Graham Mertz, torn ACL, going to be out for the rest of the year. And it's good that you've gotten DJ Lagway some reps, Greg, but Mertz a leader. Mertz, everybody you talked to said he's handled himself extremely well there in the facility, that he's done everything the way they've asked him to. He's obviously been a solid player for that team, but hate to see it go down, hate to see his season end this way.
Career end this way. I mean, that's the bummer, is that all these guys are getting extra years, and I don't think he has one left. But he was a good player, man, a good, solid college player. And I think a nice story, too, a guy whose career didn't start out the way you wanted it to start out. But he ended up finishing on a pretty high note, relatively speaking, with the type of player he ultimately became. I think he'll play on Sundays. I think he's really accurate. I think he's got better athleticism than people realize, and I just hate that his career ends because of an injury. It's just always a bummer.
So we'll talk to Pat Dooley about that at 8 o'clock this morning. He'll join the show, covers the Florida Gators, just get an idea kind of where things are after the Tennessee loss. It is Alabama-Tennessee week, so Jason Swain going to join us at 8:45. Tennessee gets the win. Vol Nation, maybe not all as happy as they should be about that. Now rolling into Alabama week. Get his thoughts on where the Vols are as we head into a massive rivalry weekend there. And then Russ Brandon going to give us a UFL update at 9 o'clock this morning. Talk about some ticket information and the future of the league coming back again this year. And obviously, always good to catch up with Russ. We'll do that at 9 o'clock this morning. Also, Tennessee linebacker Keenan Peely, torn ACL, out for the year.
Big loss.
That was one, Greg, that we talked about before the year. For me, there were three: Dylan Sampson, Cooper Mays, Keenan Peely. That you did not have another guy like that. I think you lose some physicality in your front seven. Obviously, some leadership, veteran presence. He was 26 years old. That's a tough one for Tennessee. It really is, because I thought there were some things physically he was really doing well for that Tennessee defense.
Yeah, I mean it's a real bummer. And he had some intimidator qualities. You know what I mean? Not like Dale Jr. or Dale, but
ain't nobody got them.
But he did little things, not dirty either. Like people act like it's dirty. It's like just standard gamesmanship. But I just remember him hitting in the game in Oklahoma. He hits Jackson Arnold and he just kind of runs his forehead up against the bottom of Jackson Arnold's chin, which is like just a little bit of an intimidator move. It's just a smart move, like getting the young quarterback's head, like remind him that you're going to be there all game. So just little things that he did that will probably go unnoticed, but that's a significant loss for Tennessee.
Well, there was one too, NC State game. Like I think it was kind of like a screen and the guy drops it and it was a late hit. But I mean, he let him know, and I mean, it was a tone. He's a tone setter, I think, is maybe where you're trying to go with that, and yeah, he'll be missed for sure. We did get a graphic yesterday. Well, just in case if you're wondering if it was official, Graham Mertz put a graphic out yesterday. Gator Nation, thank you for 2 incredible years in Gainesville. Unfortunately, I suffered a torn ACL against Tennessee. Will miss the remainder of the season. During my recovery, I will remain part of the program and do whatever I can in meeting rooms and from the sideline to help my teammates win. I want to thank everyone for the opportunity of support during this time. Graham Mertz.
Love that. Not all graphics are created equal. That's not a me guy graphic. That's a, hey, I'm going to be around and I'm not going anywhere. These guys still need me and I plan on being there.
An acceptable graphic.
I don't know if you need the graphic for it, but.
I say, or you could just do it.
Okay.
But at least he's not like,
I do appreciate
train.
I'm not quitting graphic. I don't hate it, but
could have easily done the Leo DiCaprio and Wolf of Wall Street video of, I'm not going anywhere, but okay.
That also could have been acceptable. Let's go to Rich on the Buyers Right Hotline. Wants to talk Auburn. Welcome into the show, Rich.
What's up, guys?
How you doing?
Good. Hey, this probably ain't going to be very pleasant to hear, but honestly, the way this year's gone, I've got zero confidence that Auburn will win against Missouri this weekend. They just haven't proven to me whether it be from being able to handle tough moments and hold on to the ball or from a strategy standpoint that they could do it. I mean, there's nothing that shows me that they can have any confidence. And how many times have Auburn fans heard all year, we got to get 27 the ball? I mean, does he not sign off on the game plans? Or am I wrong in saying that? I don't know, but he's the one that's got the final say. And when you have a running back that's averaging 6.5 yards a game and he's only got 80-plus carries for the year, that's not good. That's your best running back in the SEC, not getting the ball. So that is on you. It doesn't look like they're prepared from my standpoint. I mean, y'all see the games. Y'all are more strategic. Y'all got more experience. But I just don't. I have zero confidence. And if they were to lose to Missouri, and it's just me, I say you just bench Peyton Thorne and you get ready for next year. You just play the young guys and you try to, because at some point they're going to have to get experience for next year anyway. So you might as well just say, you know what, we're not going anywhere, and we're not going to a bowl. We might as well throw Hank out there and get him ready for next year, or whoever that quarterback is.
Well, the guy that's going to be your quarterback next year is probably not on the roster.
Thank you, Rich.
Well,
So I
Sorry
mean,
to cut you off.
if I'm just going to be honest. I mean, I don't believe. It's just that's my thoughts.
I think most people believe that. And also there's a small part of that there are other players on that offense that you probably would like to keep happy to a certain extent. I think maybe you placated to them a little bit too much early in the season, but you all of a sudden bring in a guy that can't get them the football. Are they going to be around? Are they going to want to stick around? I don't. Answers we don't have, but I do think things that you have to consider and at least think about when you're talking about doing something like that.
I'm telling you, I think the worst thing you can do as a program, and just my own personal opinion, the worst thing you can do as a program is mail it in and start thinking about, quote, next year. Like, I don't care.
And you don't get the number one pick when you do that. So
yeah,
the
exactly.
benefits are not exactly the same.
There's no suck for luck campaign. Like I don't understand.
Tank for Tua,
any of these things.
Who else we got?
Like Thoreau for
for Baker. I don't know.
Yeah, Thoreau for Burrow. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, you don't get any benefit to it. All you do is give your young players like excuses.
Endure for Shador.
Yes, that's it. Endure the losses for Shador Sanders.
I just don't think it's ever a good precedent. It's you play to win every game. Like, what are we teaching kids?
But I do, Greg. I look at it and I wonder. You got 2 weeks to prepare, and the Georgia game, like I said, was one that should have been easy to be up for and be motivated about. 2-4. If you don't get this one, now I guess part of that would be I don't know where Kentucky is right now either. I really don't. But you're on the road, and that's going to be a night game there, which is a tough place to play. Then Vanderbilt, we know that's going to be a tough one. UL Monroe's having a solid season, folks. Just don't completely bypass it. And that's it, right at about the same spot where we saw something weird happen last year. Was it not? Is that
Feels
about
like
where
it.
something weird happened last year?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get Texas A&M, a group that up front you're not going to be able to handle. And you get Alabama on the road. So be very careful about, because that mail-in could be a complete mail-in. Like to the tune of 2 wins. So be very careful there. That's not something that I would suggest that you try to go with. I would suggest you call Wayne's because we are heading into the cold season. Your yard going to head into dormancy, and that means that you need to have it prepared now for when the weather warms up again. Wayne's can treat your yard, get it ready, and when it does warm back up, be the envy of the neighborhood, green, lush, barefoot good. A lot of reasons, Greg, that our listeners need to call Wayne's.
Yeah, you can get the first month free if you go to 866-WAYNES1. Use the offer code JOX. That's JOX. 866-WAYNES1. Offer code JOX. Let them come out and get your lawn prepared for next spring. 866-WAYNES1. Offer code JOX, and let Wayne's continue to create your happy place.
So we'll continue the conversation around Auburn. We got a little off track with some of the games that took place over the weekend. There's a couple we haven't really hit a lot on. Red River, Georgia, Mississippi State, a little more Florida, Tennessee. We'll get to all those and more next right here on McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. Appreciate you being with us. 800-239-9569. We've talked a little bit about Auburn already heading into next weekend. Previous caller did bring up Jarquez Hunter and Hugh Freeze and play calling and game planning. Freeze yesterday discussing what he would like to see from Jarquez Hunter this weekend.
Yeah, I think we need to get it to him more. I don't know what is the average per rush. You know, that's the one that I care about, and there's no question 27 needs to touch it more. That's the frustrating thing of some of our short yardage deals that have been called and not executed at a high enough level where he actually touches it, and that's we've got to get that corrected.
All right, hold on a second. Play that again. Sorry. Because I'm
I
trying,
think we need to
stay
get it to
calm
him
here.
more. I don't know what is the average per rush. You know, that's the one that I care about, and there's no question 27 needs to touch it more. That's the frustrating thing of some of our short yardage deals that have been called and not executed at a high enough level where he actually touches it, and that's we've got to get that corrected.
Am I hearing this incorrectly? How about just call it to him with no other options? How about just call inside zone and don't have an attachment?
On short yardage? How can you do that? Why would you ever just call it and run it on short yardage?
On
Why
first
wouldn't
and
you want
50,
options?
Greg, I don't care.
Why
Call
wouldn't
the ball to 27 and don't allow anything else to happen.
Why wouldn't you want options where like quarterback could keep it, or the running back could turn back out and block the D end, or you could throw an RPO, or you could bluff the center and work him up, and you actually read and you get maybe a little jet sweep off of it. Like, to me, when I think short yardage, I think I want as many moving parts as humanly possible to create confusion. I don't want to just bow up.
Yeah, let's give us more things that can go wrong.
Exactly. Give me all the moving parts you could possibly think of. Let me read it. Let me do all this stuff on short yardage. Like, let me do all that. That makes sense.
So
As opposed to, putting a defensive lineman in the backfield and running them downhill on an inside duo like Ole Miss does. And J.J. Pegues runs over 7 LSU players on the edge.
Yeah,
So you want to
I
run
understand.
no option.
I understand part of the thought there, but it's the full circle that I guess I'm a little frustrated with. Call the play. I mean, we've talked about it with Sark before. You've talked about it in terms of different offenses in the league of call it, run it. It's not that difficult. When I talked to Sark on the field before the Mississippi State game, Arch Manning's first start, I asked him, okay, now that we're here, like what do you think might be a little bit different? He said, the only thing I can think that we didn't talk about yesterday was, he said, we're going to have some call it, run it's where I just don't want him to think very much at the line of scrimmage. I want him to just throw the ball here or hand the ball here and go so he can get a feel and see things and get a little bit more comfortable. And then we'll start really getting into everything that our offense is capable of. I don't really care what the down and distance is. There need to be calls that you are assured 27 is going to get it, no matter what. So the execution of the plays, I'm fine having a conversation about, because we've seen plenty of instances where a tight end does not have any interest in making contact with the defender, or an offensive guard whiffs on a defender. Those things happen. It's going to be part of it. But the execution of 27 getting the ball, that to me is more easily repairable than anything else we can talk about with the offense. Just call the play to him and don't give another option with it. So
there are two, and if I'm playing devil's advocate just for the moment, there are two schools of thought. Like, all right, it's when people get all mad. Why are we in shotgun on the goal line? Well, because that's your offense. That's what you do. Like, actually going under center would make it more difficult. And I can tell you from personal experience, like as a guy that came from a shotgun-oriented high school offense, we played Midland Lee in the first game of the year. Never took an under center snap all of fall camp. Never took one in summer. Never took one in spring. Well, guess what? Midland Lee, hey, under center QB sneak from the 1. Fumbled the snap, and a big 300-pound defensive end that ended up going to A&M takes it 60 yards downfield until I had to go catch him. So
Did you?
I did.
caught him?
Yeah, he was 310 pounds. Of course I caught him. I was 180. I better have caught him.
Attaboy. Good speed.
Yeah. Anyways, long story short, like you do what you do, you run your offense, and if you're comfortable reading it on 4th and 1, that's fine, because that's what you've done 1,000 upon 1,000 times. But if you are frustrated with the amount of touches 27's getting, call and run it. Simple as that. Take those things out of it and call and run it.
And for what it's worth, his average yards per touch is 6.8.
Because he gets optimal looks. Like, people look at the things like, well, if you do call it and run it, guess what? Those numbers are going down. I know that's like,
and I'm okay with that to
Right.
ensure that he gets the ball.
Well, I know that people like
Certain
don't understand it.
times.
Like, I don't understand why we don't just hand it to him 50 times a game if he's averaging 7 per. Well, because the reason why he's averaging those many is because in this offense, in a read-based offense, you run with him against optimal looks. That's why.
Let's take the reverse psychology on this and go back to Tim Beck and Vanderbilt against Alabama later in the game, not the last drive, but towards the end of the game. There were multiple instances that Tom said on the broadcast. He's like, hey, he's getting conservative here. Is this too conservative? And my immediate reaction was no, because this sets up everything else. This sets up an option play. This sets up a play action. Like, that's the baseline of what they do, and it sets it all up. When you're struggling the way Auburn is throwing the football, would you not want to be a little bit more stubborn with your tailback, who has the ability to break one at any point in time, and then allow that to benefit your numbers on the back end somehow, some way? It feels like that's going a little bit backwards right now. We're going to wait to pick our spots with 27 because we're going to try to throw it around first. Like, I wouldn't be waiting on my spots for 27. I would be stubborn with that. And then let's go try to see what happens through the air, because like what you're saying, no, Jarquez is not going to be running into as optimal of looks, but then that gives us better looks for what we're not very good at, which I would rather have the numbers there.
Fair. No pushback at all. Totally get it. I think Peyton's shown enough to be a good enough play action passer. Back to the defense play action, even though they don't do a ton of it. Like, I'd go a lot more pistol. I'd go a lot more call it and run it looks. I don't think your offensive line's very good anyway, so I'd let those guys just pick and stick. And hopefully, because of Peyton's athleticism, he can hold the backside end with a hard boot action, with a hard bootleg away. And with the threat of, hey, you come crashing down, guess what? We'll pull up and we'll hit Keandre Lambert-Smith on a big post. Like, those are things that he can do.
Well, and just to further your point a little bit about, and this is a little off topic, I don't think it means as much in this game. By the way, Milroe was under center a little bit. It's pretty cool to see that. I love guys going under center. I don't really know why, but
There's a bunch of teams that are using it right now.
Yeah, Texas does it a lot.
Texas does it a bunch. I saw
Georgia
who
does it
watched the other
some.
day that was doing some.
Yeah, I'm all for it. But I go back to last year, the conversation we had week 2 with Will Rogers. And remember, that system wasn't going to be very different, by the way. That's what Mississippi State fans told us. Like, this is not any different than the air raid, guys. It's just not, okay?
It's shotgun offense.
And I said, when's the last time you took a snap under center? He said, did it twice in high school. Once on my own 3 coming out. He said, we fumbled it and the team scored on us. And I was thinking to myself, who in the hell, if you had never done it, is going to, I could understand going in maybe, wanting
Yes.
to try it, but coming out, and he's like, it's not easy, man. Like, it's just, you'd be surprised. Like, that's a kid that played a ton of high school football as a starter and had not done it, literally. Sark has told me on multiple quarterbacks that he's gotten to either Texas or Alabama or Washington, whatever, that had not taken a snap under center when they got to college.
Yes.
Never had done it. So when you,
It's not uncommon, dude.
right, and so to just say, why don't they get under center there? When you've never done it, that's like saying tonight, why would Aaron Judge just not bat left-handed?
It's a right-handed pitcher.
Just bat lefty. Well, hadn't done that. So it's not an ideal way to be successful.
But people
So-
just don't realize that. Like, it's just that's a foreign concept. Same thing as, people just don't, I don't expect you to have a PhD in football. I don't think anybody, I don't. I'm trying to learn more every day. I love it. I love to learn about football. I love to learn about philosophies. I've spent a little time this week watching some Navy. Like, I'm just really interested in just learning more about the game. And I don't expect you to have a PhD in football, but to know that there's a pretty significant difference. For instance, like if you do something every day, all day, every day, a certain way, like you write right-handed every day. Well, guess what? It's going to be a little uncomfortable when you have to write left-handed. If you're driving on the right side of the road right now and listening to us, well, imagine if all of a sudden we just teleported. I'm sure SpaceX will come up with a way to do this. Teleported you to England and you all of a sudden are driving on the other side of the road. Like, there are things that are like kind of challenging about adjusting from shotgun to under center, from offset gun to pistol, from inside receiver to outside receiver. From left tackle to right tackle, from guard to center. Like, these things are not easy transitions. So I think we need to get like Tyler Booker. How good is Tyler Booker?
I think he's the best offensive lineman in America right now.
Okay. Left guard at Alabama, one of the best in America. You heard the O-line guru himself tell you that. How did he look at offensive tackle a couple weeks back?
Better than I imagined, but not elite.
No.
But he held up fine.
It's impossible. It's not part of the arsenal. You can be elite at one thing, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be elite doing other things. So, but guess what? There's no shame in that. That's the way it goes.
I think we just missed out on something massive there. You know what? I'm going to wait until the other side. There's something that Greg just said that I feel like needs further discussion, and we'll get into it next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. Greg McElroy with an awakening comment in our previous segment that I have to get to and dig into a little bit further. First, I'll tell you about Backyard Adventures right here at 7:48 a.m. Tuesday morning, October 15th on Jocks 94.5. We were looking for a playground for a long time. Finally found one over there, Backyard Adventures. We went out to Cahaba Valley Road. They had them all put together. The kids went crazy. We decided what we wanted. They customized it, came to our backyard, put it together. And then we heard Greg talking about the basketball goal, so we got one of those too. But Greg, I know it's been awesome for you guys.
It's been a great investment. Yesterday, no school for the kiddos. We had neighborhood buddies coming over, Vince and them outside playing. Man, it's just a blast. I mean, it's a great gathering spot for the kids in our area, and it's been a lot of fun, man. And we couldn't thank the guys more at Backyard Adventures for all that they've provided for us. Go and find them off Cobb Valley Road, or you can go online at backyardalabama.com.
Now, I know people think that there's some football awakening here that I heard from you, but actually my takeaway from your previous comments was you believe SpaceX is going to have us teleporting in the next few years?
I think that's probable. I think it's probable, probably 3-4 years.
And you also sounded like you'd be into that.
Yeah, I don't care anymore.
You would teleport.
Yeah, I
If
would
Elon Musk
teleport.
came to you right now and said, if you sit in this vehicle, I think I can teleport you to the other lane going the opposite direction, you'd say, yeah, let's give that a shot.
Lock in.
If you could teleport me to Knoxville at about 7:00 p on Thursday, I'll take that. And or 7:00 p.
But you have no
on
idea how
Saturday.
that's going to end up.
Don't care.
You don't know. I mean, you might end up in some.
If I end up vaporized, then it was a good run.
Okay.
It'll be sudden.
You
Great
could end
run.
up in some alternative dimension,
Yeah,
just like staring off into the stars, floating in space.
I'd go
somewhere.
find
No idea.
Barb. I'd go find Barb from Stranger Things or whatever that thing was.
She died, but
I
okay.
thought you were going to say.
We don't know that for sure.
You're going to the upside down.
No, no,
Yeah.
she did die.
Wasn't the truck driver on Pee Wee's Big Adventure Barb?
That was Large Marge.
Large Marge.
Yeah.
Sorry. You might find Large Marge out there.
Might.
You never know.
Large Marge could definitely
I just
happen.
can't see myself volunteering for a teleport session when I've never seen
Teleport
anybody else do
I'm
it.
going to
I
volunteer.
mean, I would love
Right.
to have the
Correct.
ability to do that, but if someone came to me right now and said, "Hey, we can do this," I think that I would probably look at that and say, let's let some other folks give that a shot.
I don't-
Like, we get mad about the technology on a new cell phone or like a new version of a car, like a new model. Like, you got to let the first ones come out first. We're going to jump on board with teleporting first.
I don't update the OS on the phone. Like, I just let the notification sit there for about a month because I know they're going to be bugs. So why would I willingly sign up to volunteer to be the first to teleport? No, thank you.
Greg shows up in Knoxville with no arms.
Don't need them.
Hey, I'm here though. Didn't have to make that connection in Atlanta.
Yeah. Take that, Hartsfield. No
You got an
diamond-
afro.
no
Yeah,
diamond-
teleported.
No diamond status for me this year.
All right, so since it came up, I just have to ask quickly. The amount of people who are literally wetting their pants over this rocket landing the other day, I just have to know, like, am I missing something on this? It was everywhere. Now, Greg made a great point when we talked about this in a break yesterday. Elon owns Twitter now. So the fact that it's consistently showing up there, that probably makes sense. But that doesn't excuse the people who are in attendance sharing videos of it. And people were literally acting like they had a winning lottery ticket, yelling at the top of their lungs, screaming at the top of their lungs for a rocket landing that they have nothing to do with. Like, did that bring goods down and you haven't had a meal in 3 months? What was happening?
These are the people that haven't watched Terminator 2 or War of the Worlds or any
iRobot.
kind of sci-fi movie where technology comes after us. They just assume that,
Ah.
we're moving to the future.
Don't get me wrong. I thought it was super cool.
Yes.
Like, I was seeing that happen. It looked fake. I'm not saying it was fake, but I'm just saying, like, it doesn't feel like that should be able to happen. But the elation and excitement from some individuals that were just watching.
It's a bit much
You didn't win the Super Bowl.
for an unmanned rocket too.
It's Elon, dude.
But
As an investor in Neuralink, everyone needs to support Elon.
oh boy.
Oh,
Let's
boy.
not- we already played the video from that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
That's going to be the new technology in the helmets coming up soon.
Yeah.
They're going to drill a hole in your head.
Yeah, pretty much. Can't take your helmet off.
I'll never forget the
Some
first time I
coaches
saw that
probably
video.
like to do that to the players. Like,
Kirby
why are
almost
you
did.
doing this?
Kirby almost did.
First thing they're going to do is drill a quarter-size hole in your skull.
Yeah.
We're out. Right then.
It's only a quarter size.
Pass. Well, what, did they get it down to a nickel? You're going to let them do it?
It's a
Dime.
dime.
No.
I'll take a penny. Like that. That's the farthest I'm willing to go.
Listen. I'm not saying that it wasn't a very cool, amazing accomplishment, but why are people so individually excited about it? Like rooting for it, yelling for it. I just need help understanding that part. And I'm not trying to. I know we got a lot of people listening on the ump that probably thought it was cooler than I did, and I'm not saying it's not cool, but just like people like peeing their pants over this.
I don't get it. I don't know.
Okay.
See, I was more worried about the robots these past couple of days.
Yeah,
they're starting to. It's starting to get a little strange here in this day and age. I've been preparing this moment for my entire life.
Have you? When you were 4, you were preparing for robots that could live in your
Here
home?
comes
Power
Power
Rangers,
Rangers. Here it comes.
Yes, I've been prepared for this moment.
Those are called Zords.
That too. We're going to need a few. We're going to need a few here.
Hold on. So you're preparing for it by
when they take
knowing
over,
how to battle them?
Yes.
Or?
I've been preparing for this for a while. I'm telling you, as soon as we start seeing these robots attack, I got the contingency plan.
I don't see your morpher anywhere for you to change.
They're the
Okay.
Robots would never have attacked when Nick Saban was head coach.
It's fair.
We haven't.
They play no defense.
Hadn't had these robots since Kalen, wore dry fit.
I don't see a robot wearing a t-shirt.
Yeah.
They got more class than that.
Do they?
I don't know.
Don't watch that Megan Fox movie, Subservient.
I probably wouldn't. But thanks for.
Might need to check that out.
Thanks for advising me not to. But yeah, don't.
Yeah, you got my attention now. I was asleep until this. What was this now?
It's called Subservient. It's a Imagine I, Robot, but with Megan Fox as a robot.
Yeah.
That's the premise of the movie.
Sounds like it sounds like a really good plot line. I can't believe it wasn't up for awards. I'll take a peek at it.
I could see where that could get some folks in trouble if that scenario was real.
Yeah. Haven't you seen the movie Species? Same thing.
Shape of Water.
I think the other thing we're learning today is you guys have watched some bad movies.
Species is actually pretty good.
Doesn't sound like it.
For like 1990, for like 1996, like sci-fi, it's not bad.
So you've seen that, but you haven't seen Predator.
I've seen Predator.
Okay.
I just don't think it's God's gift to filmmaking like you do.
Oh, I just think it's the best action film ever made outside of Terminator 2. But
that's fair.
Yeah. I don't know.
Tommy from Trustful, he texted in. He says, when that rocket landed, was it able to take a snap under center?
No, because it hadn't repped it.
Nope. They just did it on the fly. Okay.
But did he not crash like 20 of those trying to do it?
Exactly.
So
it's all about the reps.
You got to practice.
Maybe that's why they were excited. They finally got one right.
The question is, when the rocket was going down, and that was a really gotta have it situation, like a 4th and 1.
Right.
It was.
Did the rocket read which platform to land
You
on?
knew exactly where it was going.
No, they called for it to go to Jarquez, but they didn't execute it.
I don't think it gave the rocket many options on the way down.
No.
So you're going to land here in between these two, this fork.
So you're telling me that it's easier to do things and to execute when you don't have other options.
So I've heard.
That is so strange.
Who knew SpaceX and football were meant for the same discussion?
It's right there.
Could have saved us a lot of time.
We're here for you, Rocket City.
Yeah. If there's ever been a show that belongs in Huntsville, it's us now. Look at
Next,
that expertise.
how satellites affect the deep ball.
How some deep balls are actually satellites.
Joe Milton.
And gravitational pull affects an out route. Next on Mac and Cube. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Kublik in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Been a fun show so far, talking SpaceX. We'll get away from that and how it affects the route tree. I will tell you about Gusty Goulas and the Gusty Goulas Group. If you're looking for a new home, right here at 8 a.m., hour number 2 underway, Tuesday, October 15th, Gusty Goulas can help you get into that home. Served over 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area since 2012. Gusty Goulas Group recognized both nationally, locally, as Greater Birmingham, Alabama's #1 team in homes sold. Gusty invests thousands of dollars in the latest tools like social media, photographers, and more. Over 835-star Google reviews. Just Google Gusty Goulas Group or go to gustygoulasgroup.com, brokered by eXp Realty. So we're going to be able to help you find whatever it is that you need. You can go to gustygoulasgroup.com right now. Button at the top of the page, press that. Very little information, find out the value of your home. 205-542-1996. That's 205-542-1996 or visit gustygoulasgroup.com. Pat Dooley joins us now. Has covered the Florida Gators for how long, Pat?
A million years, I think. You know, when they're honoring the 1984 team here, and I was thinking how old I was when I was covering that team. that
38?
was when I was. Yeah, exactly. I'm just an old man. I'm happy. I'm just happy that I've been able to cover it for so long.
Let's start with this. There were parts of it, probably more parts than not, a solid performance against Tennessee. Had opportunities, in a position to get a win, but don't. And then there were some letdowns in some other areas still. So what's the temperature on things kind of top to bottom in that football facility right now?
Well, obviously they're very disappointed over there. They really thought they had a plan to win that game, and they did have a great plan to win that game. But unfortunately, they made too many mistakes. I mean, some of them were players, some of them were coaches making mistakes. And, I think that the temperature in the Gator Nation is this guy's probably going to be out of here at the end of the year. And then the Gidiots, as I call them, the Gator idiots, the ones who want him fired now, which would make no sense. It would do you no good. They're the ones who are dominating the phone lines. I can tell you that on our show. So, they're just sitting here and they're going, when is Florida going to be good again? And they saw that Saturday night where they were good enough to win a game as a 15-point underdog, but just couldn't pull it off, couldn't do the things, couldn't do the necessary things. And that included, I would have gone for two. I said it out loud as soon as they scored the touchdown, go for two. But they decided not to after they called that timeout. Tennessee called that timeout.
Yeah, I just think the indecision is what is most irritating.
Yeah.
It's like you have them out there ready to kick, which is fine. If that's how you want to play it, that's how you want to play it. I don't recommend going about it that way, especially on the road. But such is life. Then you call timeout, so you burn one. Then you have your funky formation. They burn one. And you decide to kick. It's just like, I don't know, man. The indecision is frustrating. And watching that game back, I know the reaction has to be strong with some of the miscues and the mistakes. So when you watch Florida, is it salvageable now with DJ Lagway, or has this team already played their best football and now in defeat, they're kind of going to be in shutdown mode?
Yeah, I mean, there's two ways to look at it. One is that maybe this defense is finally figuring some things out, or it could be that UCF's offense isn't very good. And to be honest with you, Tennessee's isn't that great either. I think they've had 3 or 4 straight games under 400 yards and 2 straight games getting shut out in the first half. So I think they're struggling with their young quarterback. The problem for Florida right now is if the defense is really truly turned a corner, which would be great because they've had 4 years of the worst defenses Florida's ever seen. Can DJ Lagway pull you forward offensively, because he was limited with the number of plays they could call for him because obviously he wasn't taking first team reps. Graham Mertz was the leader of this team. That's going to be the interesting thing to watch, is how DJ handles this whole thing and how they handle rallying around him. You know this, both of you guys know this very well. Everybody's got to play well for an offense to work. It's not just the quarterback. And we'll see how that works. Look, the guy's more talented than Graham Mertz, but Graham Mertz is a better quarterback right now in time. Now, when you get a torn ACL, you're not a very good quarterback. It doesn't work that way. But so we'll see what happens. I don't think they've shut it down. I think that you saw how hard they played Saturday night. And it's, there's a lot of noise in the system, and they played that hard. I think they'll play hard, the rest of the season. But there could come a point where they just go, this isn't going to work.
Well, how will we remember Graham Mertz? How should he be remembered in Gainesville? His entire career there, for this year, just what he's done. I don't feel like he'll ever be appreciated for how good, I guess, I believe that he's been, how successful I believe he's been as a college quarterback. How will Florida folks remember him?
I think most of them, the sane ones, will remember him fondly. Because he did everything you're supposed to do. He did everything as a person. He did everything in the community. He did everything with other, athletes here, with other student athletes here, and played great football. I mean, don't forget the last 5 SEC games Florida played last year. They were dominant offensively. They were averaging like 30 points a game, but their defense was so bad. That's what killed them. And so, and then, obviously, he starts out the season, gets a concussion, and then this injury, which as soon as it happened, I went, oh, that's an ACL. You could just tell. But, I think most people are going to say, look, this guy did everything he could. He wasn't the most talented arm strength guy, but he was smart, and he was a leader, and he cared about Florida, and they'll take that as a positive. There are other people who are going, good riddance, let's get Lagway in there, but those people aren't really seeing it, the whole field.
How would you assess how the supporting cast has played the last couple weeks? Because I do feel like for a little while there wasn't much help at quarterback, but I do feel like somebody's either rattled their cage or something, because I saw better performance from the perimeter skill. The running backs have been solid all year. So how would you assess the supporting cast that Lagway now will be taking the field with?
Yeah, I think Shamir DK has really come on. Badger's been pretty good. Not having Trey Wilson for a lot of that time, he just now finally got to play, and you could tell he still wasn't quite where he needed to be. It certainly was hurt them. They've got plenty of solid receivers, so I think that's picked up. Aiden Mizell's had some good games, but that's one area that I think they've been able to strengthen through the portal. It just took a little while to get going, and I think it has gotten better. Now the question is going to be, how do they respond with DJ Lagway in there? And this guy's extremely talented. He is committed to what he's doing. He's got a great teacher in Graham Mertz, who's going to be there and talking to him and coaching him up, probably getting his coaching career started, I would think. But we'll see how those guys play, because they're pretty good at tight end too. Boardingham had a touchdown in that game. Hayden Hansen had a big catch. They've got some skill guys there. They just haven't been able to produce a lot of points, and that's, hey, this. The bottom line is who scores the most points, and that's what they haven't been good at. The red zone has been bad for them.
And a lot of folks frustrated with the play calling there, and understandably so, because you see Montrell running over safeties, and then you see, Trayvon Ball at 235 pounds, and immediately your thought is, okay, get inside the 10. Let's just get those guys going north and south. And what are the explanations for why that hasn't happened?
Well, the explanations come, and I still kind of sit there and go, well, that's not the right thing. It's just like, I'll give you a perfect example was the penalty they got at the end of the half, and it cost them 3 points. And they said, well, a guy got hurt, but he didn't come out of the game. And so we put another guy in, and we know what the problem was. We're going to fix it. I go, that doesn't do you any good last Saturday. If you kick that field goal, who knows? Maybe you win the game. There's just a lot of things like that just, it feels like you're in the Groundhog Day, like with just every time they lose a game, every Monday we come in and we get the same phone calls about the same things: play calling, clock management, bad penalties on special teams that kill them. And Billy was talking up the special teams after the game, and I agree. Shamir DK had 2 unbelievable punt returns. We haven't seen that for 5 years maybe. since Kadarius Toney was running back punts. But you also missed a field goal in overtime and had a penalty that cost you 3 points, took them right off the field, and had a clock run off. Those things are part of your special teams. You can't praise them if you've done all these other negative things. So that's where I think the frustration sets in with a lot of these Gator fans, is when they hear the explanations, they're not really explanations. They're almost excuses. And, we're going to fix it. Well, then fix it. Fix it today, not tomorrow.
Would be nice for sure. Look, I hate asking this question, but it appears as if it's an inevitability at this point. Where do you think this search might ultimately go? I mean, I know that this will be a nationwide search, but who will be leading it? Who would be on the short list? And give me some insights. Don't give me like the usual suspects like Jed Fish, Eli Drinkwitz. Like I feel like I hear the same old names for every job, and I just don't know if either one of those would be a great fit. So do you have like a lean of what kind of coach they would try to target?
Well, obviously again, let me just say this. I believe that if Napier can try to fix this and win some games down the stretch, he's not going anywhere. Okay. Now, the chances of that happening are not great, as you know. I mean, that schedule the rest of the way is brutal. I mean, Kentucky and FSU, the bookends, and they're their best chances to win games. The other ones are going to be very difficult, as you know. Texas, Ole Miss, Georgia, LSU.
It's the second hardest schedule remaining in the country behind LSU.
Yeah.
So it's brutal,
yeah, exactly.
No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, but who knows? I mean, you still wait it out and watch the games. But if you get to a point where you're 3-7, you're probably going to pull the trigger on that. The name that keeps coming up is Lane Kiffin. But, I mean, I feel like Lane Kiffin is another Billy Napier. He can't win the big games. He finds ways to lose them, and they lose games they shouldn't lose. That's what they've got already. They've got that, a guy who finds ways to lose games he shouldn't lose. But there's a lot of people that think they just want to see offense again. And I'm like, they're the same people that said, hey, we just want somebody to come in here and have a great offense, and we don't even care if we win anymore. Of course, Dan Mullen came in here, had great offense, and when he started losing, they wanted him out. So. I don't see Jed Fish being a good. I know he went to school here and coached here as a volunteer coach.
You can't hire him. I'm sorry. You can't do it. The guy's never been anywhere for more than 2 years. Like you just can't do it.
No, and they're going to have to swing for the fences. And that you asked a great question. Who is going to lead that? And that is the question that a lot of us have here, because the president's an interim president. He'll be in the office through this, obviously, but I don't think he's got, he doesn't have that acumen to be hiring football coaches. And then do you keep your athletic director? Do you let him hire a third coach? Most people will say there's no way. He's failed on 2 already. So you've got to get somebody else in here. So maybe they hire a new AD and maybe he's got a connection to somebody. But I mean, it's just, I don't think there's that many great coaches out there. Matt Campbell's a name that always would come up, and of course he's having another great year. But I don't know. I think Florida's just got to find a way to swing for the fences, and whatever the money costs. I mean, they allegedly they've got boosters that have put together the $26 million buyout. I'm like, well, if you can do that, you can go get another coach for a lot of money. Don't forget, though, that $26 million buyout doesn't include all the assistants you're going to have to pay, all of the people who are under contract that you're going to have to pay, the 90 polo shirts that they have out there. So it's going to be expensive, but I still think Florida's got to go hard and just find. I mean, it may be somebody that we would think would never do that. And here's another thing, Greg, and I know you know this as well. You keep firing coaches every 3 years like Florida's done. Why would a great coach want to come here? And why would he want to come here even for a huge amount of money and say, yeah, I'll come in there, and if I can't do it, they're treating this job like it's an NFL job. Can't get it done, you're gone. We'll get another guy in here.
Pat, great stuff. Thank you so much for the time today. We appreciate it, and definitely look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Hey, anytime, guys.
Pat Dooley, one of the best in the business, covered the Florida Gators for a long time, and kind of interesting where he goes with some of that, Greg. And you mentioned second hardest. It's tough to imagine when you look at it. The first thing that comes to your mind is, wait, there's one that's harder than this? They've got Kentucky at home, Georgia neutral site, at Texas, LSU at home, Ole Miss at home, at Florida State. Like Pat said, Kentucky and Florida State, the two easiest games left on the schedule. I think they could get both of those.
Yeah.
I don't think that Ole Miss is impossible.
No.
If you can figure out something to negate Garrett Nussmeier, which is not going to be an easy task.
No.
That game's not out of the question at home. Georgia, Texas, I find
I think
find
Georgia,
it difficult to see
I think Georgia's human. I'm not trying to sit there and say I would pick them ever against Florida. I wouldn't. I would never pick Florida over Georgia right now. But I don't think that Georgia's as good as they've been in the past. So, and we'll find out this weekend. I mean, we're gonna find out real soon.
Yes, I don't think there's any doubt about that. We got plenty of time to talk Georgia, Texas throughout the course of the week. When we come back, we will get to our top three for the day. But first, there are more than three things you could pick up today at the pants store.
Yeah. Hats, shirts, polo zips, hats, shirts, polos, quarter zips. They got them all at the pants store right now, and you can go and get game day ready. You can get fall ready, by the way. I went outside, worked out this morning, man. It's getting a little colder.
Felt good this morning.
It's getting a little chillier. It might be time to go and get some layers. Maybe go get a vest. They have the best brands, whether it's Cutter and Buck, Genteel, all these awesome Horn Legend, all these awesome brands that you can go and grab. So now that the season's starting to change, go and check out the pants store for all your game day needs. Ladies, they got the dresses, they got the Western boots, they got rompers, all that stuff has you covered. They also have the clear purse as well, so you can go through security looking as cute as can be. Free alterations and gift wrap. If you zip on down to the pants store for all your game day needs.
Western boots, huh?
Weston.
Westin?
West.
In.
Weston.
Like the hotel? Like a Weston?
Yeah.
I thought we called those cowboy boots.
Western boots.
Western? Am I missing that?
It's like Merlin. Mike Loxley is the head coach of Merlin.
I'm more confused than when
Jeff
I asked.
Brom is the head coach of Louisville.
Got it. Not
And-
cowboy boots. Western boots. Do we have Eastern boots?
Yes.
Yeah,
Northern boots?
they're called Crocs.
Southern boots?
Directional boots.
Tech boots?
Oof, Northwestern over that'll really mess with your mind.
With what you just asked there on the coaching situation,
I hate asking it, but I feel like
I
you
know.
have to at this point. It
I
just
don't like
stinks.
talking about it either.
It makes me uncomfortable, but you just have to.
I saw this. John Saber retweeted this. Brett McMurphy a couple hours ago. How about this for some coaching just records? Record in last 13 games, okay?
Record.
Mac Brown, 5-8. Sonny Dykes, 5-8. Lance Leipold, 5-8. Billy Napier, 5-8. Lincoln Riley, you probably guessed it, 5-8. Coach Prime, 5-8. Scott Satterfield, 5-8. Mark Stoops, 5-8. Hugh Freeze, 5-8.
Which one's the most surprising?
Probably Dykes or Leipold.
It's tough. It's a tough call.
Stoops is a little surprising to be there.
It's-
Lincoln
it's
Riley
gotta
5-8 is pretty surprising.
It's got to be Lincoln.
I mean, you had Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, number one pick, for
First
a lot
overall
of those.
pick last year.
Yeah,
I mean, it's got to be Lincoln.
yeah, that's wild though,
It's crazy.
and it goes a little bit to what you were saying about like who is even that guy next. All right, we'll get to our top three right after this. Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. Appreciate Martin Newton tuning into the show this morning. Sanford AD. Always glad to have you on board. JocksFM.com. App is in your app store, iPhone, Android. You can download it for free. Listen on the go. You can also watch on YouTube through the app or just go to YouTube, search Jocks945 and tune in. Top 3 each and every day. Usually Mondays, Tuesdays, we like to focus on the NFL and what happened through the NFL. Hopefully we'll discuss some teams over 500 today. We didn't yesterday. But what do you have on tap for our top 3 today, Damian?
We'll talk about the game from last night. Takeaway number 3, the Josh Allen effect there in Buffalo. Even without Stephon Diggs, he's finding a way to get it done. And how about 19
because they're better without Stephon Diggs.
19 to 25, 215 yards.
You're telling that to. He's going to have a hard time
No, it's all good.
swallowing that one.
Receivers by committee. And how about
Just like LSU's defense is a little better without Harold Perkins. Doesn't mean Stephon Diggs isn't a great player.
Right.
It's just system fit. That's all it is.
How about my guy Ray Davis though, last night?
Exactly.
Good.
Sweet baby Ray.
I was watching SportsCenter this morning. I was after I think my third cup of coffee. I think it was still the PM SportsCenter at that point. So it was like 3:45, and they were like, "This Ray Davis, he came out of nowhere." I'm like,
"Hey,
I'm about sick of this.
We synced it.
We've been done synced
We
it.
synced it." Now he's an absolute dog. Takeaway number 2. I actually have a trivia for you. So, if you had to give me a guess of who is leading the NFL in passing yards right now, who would it be? Without looking, who would you get? Who would you take?
Passing yards.
Justin Herbert.
No, he's missed like 3 games.
He said,
Incorrect.
give me a guess. I don't know. Brock Purdy?
No, I would say Jared Goff.
I'll go Mahomes.
Geno Smith.
How'd you know?
I'm just naming starting
Now,
quarterbacks.
Geno Smith is the leading passer in the NFL right now.
Look at that.
1,778 yards.
Will Levis.
I'm not sure.
He's
backwards, yes.
yes, he is actually he's number 30. He's not the worst. He's 30.
He's 30th?
He's 30th.
How many backups are in front of him?
Technically one. No, technically one. Joe Flacco.
DJ Lagway would start over him.
It's probably going to in a couple weeks.
Hank Brown or Will Levis?
No, that's a shut it down.
Hank Brown more mobile.
Barely. No, looking at these numbers, Mahomes is he's not even in the top 10. Actually, he's not even top 15. Patrick Mahomes is the 16th leading passer in the NFL right now.
Jaden Daniels 9th, Aaron Rodgers 10th. Oh, Daniel Jones at 11. Is that going to work?
Okay, so
They
this is
changed their
obviously
mind?
a flawed stat.
Yeah, something's wrong here. Something's not right with this.
Now, how about Caleb Williams at 14?
It's probably the exchange rate from
He's
overseas.
just barely in the top half. That's amazing.
But here's
Hey.
the thing, and this is a little similar to what we talked about yesterday. It's a cool conversation and it's fun, but how many undefeated teams are there in the league?
One.
Just one.
2.
No,
Two,
two.
Minnesota.
Minnesota's undefeated. The Kansas City Chiefs have not lost. So who cares how many passing yards Pat Mahomes has? They're winning.
That is true.
But my fantasy.
I mean, if you actually look at fantasy numbers, he's not really doing that well.
Nobody cares.
Yes, we do.
I
Nerds do.
don't.
Yes, we do.
I am terrible at
Nerds
fantasy
care.
football.
No.
Is that why we haven't been getting updates?
I'm going to look and see if
Yeah,
I
so
won
what's
this
your
week or
record?
not right
Okay.
now. Hold on. I need time to get the app open.
Hey, you're good. You're good because we're going to talk about.
I'm not good though. Oh, I got smoked. 166 to 97.
It's probably closer than the
Also,
score would
Did you
indicate,
have
though.
people
Almost
on
a double up.
buys?
F
still-
this whole fantasy football thing.
Did you have people
Telling
on
you, it's
buys
the
who
worst.
still had him playing?
Not this week. No, I
So
actually
you just got.
I think I
yeah,
actually put some thought into it.
Okay.
Had to go get a new kicker.
Oh, that's where you
Oh,
lost.
wait, hold on a second. No. That was not right. I lost 132 to 119.
Okay.
Oh, so yeah. I mean, that's
I'm 1-5.
not
That's
good.
not that
It's
bad.
not great.
It's not indeed.
not
The
good. Oh
efforts-
yeah, I did have a wait.
This is hilarious.
CeeDee Lamb wasn't on a bye.
No.
No. So you're looking at this. Are you looking at this week?
They got run ruled, though. Cowboys
because
did.
I am 1-5. So yeah. Who cares? It's fantasy. Go. No, it doesn't matter.
Agreed.
cares?
Thank you.
I'm not looking at that the rest of the year.
Thank God.
I'm done with that. That's why I never did that in the first place.
Yeah, and the major news. If I had to question you of who leads the league in sacks right now, who would you take?
It's always somebody that no one's ever heard of. So.
Not Von Miller. TJ Watt.
No,
I mean, I know he's hurt, but Aiden Hutchinson.
it is. It is indeed, and that's why I was about to bring up his injury. He ended up having immediate surgery after.
It
After
did
that
not look
injury.
good.
It was not.
No.
It was not. So they're looking to lose him for the rest of the year. But one head coach, Dan Campbell, believes he still has the squad to take the team to the Super Bowl.
Don't they have the Vikings this week?
They do.
So 4-1, 5-0, or 5-1, 6-0, whatever. Interesting.
Do you know who leads the NFL in rushing yards?
Of course, Derrick Henry.
Just for you.
It happens. And they said he was washed. Or at least that's what people were trying to convince him. If you hadn't watched the Tennessee Titans in the past, 9 years, you realize he's not.
Do you know who leads the NFL in interceptions?
Will Levis.
Thrown or caught?
Caught. Not thrown.
I'm going to say Javon Holland.
Xavier McKinney.
Built by Bama. Ain't that right, Greg?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know who leads the NFL in receiving yards?
Jamar Chase?
Second.
Justin Jefferson.
Nico Collins. 567.
From?
And he just missed a week, Michigan. Clay Chalkville.
Yep. Alabama made.
Absolutely.
Built by the state of Alabama.
But yes, Will Levis does lead the league in interceptions.
Oh, boy.
I mean,
But there's a few
Yes,
players
that-
right there. Hey, Patrick Mahomes is right behind him with 6.
He stinks.
well.
Mm.
So he has as many wins as interceptions? Or is he 5-0?
5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Geno
But-
Smith's got 6 picks, but he leads the league in passing yards. So.
Anthony Richardson has 6 picks and he ain't played in 2 games.
Wow. You have to do that.
Got him.
Fact. And we still lost to the Colts.
We got to fire Billy. Napier. Anthony Richardson. Too many picks.
Hold on a second. Wait, stop the music for 1 second. Deshaun Watson's been sacked 31 times this year?
Correct.
6 games?
Yeah.
Are they trying?
He's not.
I mean, he literally quit on the team.
I'm not sure his offensive line is either, Greg.
Yeah.
31?
I mean, he did walk off on the field, a week or so ago.
I get it. He quit. I know. And now finally going to make a move, but 31?
Yeah, that's
Oh!
that's Cleveland for you.
Okay, start the music.
11 more from the second leader, Caleb Williams. He has 20 sacks.
Ah!
11.
That is woe-worthy.
I'm really shedding a tear for Deshaun.
I didn't say I felt bad for him.
I hope he gets hit harder.
I don't care who it is. 31 sacks in 6 games?
Yeah.
It's like an eighth of your plays.
I like that math.
It's probably wrong, but hey, felt smart.
I like
at the
that
time.
math. Any guess who leads the league in passing touchdowns?
Anthony Richardson,
No.
Deshaun Watson,
No.
Will Levis,
No.
Who did the other
Jacoby
team?
Brissett,
Absolutely not.
Matthew Stafford, Dak
He's not in the
Prescott,
top 10.
Justin Fields,
Lamar Jackson,
No.
Joe Burrow,
Derek Carr.
He's number 2.
Baker Mayfield,
He's number 1.
Daniel
Yep.
Jones.
Baker Mayfield leads the league in passing touchdowns right now with 15.
Who knew?
I mean, he got 14. Yeah, on Sunday. So
All right.
Cole's, somebody texted and said Cole Fantasy League should be on Bad Box Score of the day.
Yeah, it should. I mean, I didn't realize I was that bad at this. But
It's on its
apparently I
way.
am.
It happens, man.
Who did but I did make a good move by putting Jaden Daniels in for Kyler Murray. Not enough, but
It's all good.
he got more points. So one thing that I did well is draft Jaden Daniels.
You got to play the long game in fantasy, bro. You're good.
No,
You're good.
the long game just ended.
actually,
I'm
yeah,
out.
that's not really a long one.
I'm done.
Good.
I'm hitting the portal. I'm taking my 4-game red shirt on fantasy, and we're out.
Where's that
Oh, boy.
graphic?
Goodbye.
Yeah, I need a graphic.
Are you
To know that
are
you're
you still going
serious.
to check on your line? Are you still going to check on your lineups?
No,
Or are you done?
no, I hate it. I hated it when I decided to do it. I don't know why I did. I was trying to do something cool with my son. He doesn't care about it. So why do I care about it? Goodbye. I'm going to delete the app as soon as we go to this commercial break.
You're
and we'll be
teaching
back.
kids. You're teaching your kids to care about.
He doesn't even know we're doing it. He
Stats.
hasn't asked me about it.
You're teaching your kids to care about stats.
About
You're on the list.
Deleted. Back with more right after this. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Kublik in the morning. Texas takes down Oklahoma 34-3. Quinn Ewers, 20 of 29, 199 yards, touchdown, interception. Quintravious Wisner, 13 carries, 118 yards, and a touchdown. Oklahoma goes to 4-2. Texas 6-0 on the season. 15 yards, the longest play for Oklahoma in this game, Greg, as Texas gets the win in Red River, 8:37 a.m. Tuesday, October 15th, right here on Jocks 94.5. Did you learn a lot? Was there a big takeaway for you from Texas in this game?
Just smothering. Workmanlike, couple nice runs. Slow start, but just kind of weathered the storm. I think that's the sign of a good team. Offense didn't start great, didn't have a whole lot going for it, but it never got out of reach. I mean, last year they started a little slow offensively as well, and they were in a big hole. They needed a punt block, touchdown to kind of ignite what they had going offensively. So I think it just showed, the year under Sark, a little more maturation and being able to kind of weather the storm before they ultimately begin imposing their will.
It was I thought it was a solid plan from Sark, and I was interested in just how many people were kind of down on the Texas offense early. Trying to point out that, Quinn didn't complete many passes down the field, and I thought he did a good job getting them going east and west, and it was almost strategic how they started to go to cutback runs. I think it was by design late in the game because they knew the flow of that team. He got them running out on the screen game, had a couple of trick plays dialed up, where you got them flowing and it was going to be a receiver or running back pass. Didn't really need them. And I think you look at that team now and you start to see what Sark set out to do early in the season, Greg, and that was play some younger guys, play more guys. The running back depth doesn't look like near the problem we thought it was going to be. So he kind of got that managed a little bit early in the season.
They might actually be in good shape at running back.
It feels like it. And then two, some of your younger players, Colin Simmons, you got him going early. Now he looks like a force. Ryan Wingo, there's a couple other freshman wide receivers in college football that are going to get the conversation first, but this kid, he takes a back seat to nobody. And he looks like he's going to be a go-to weapon as the season progresses. So now some of that depth is coming on. I love the flexibility of their defense. You got Colin Simmons can play off the ball. He can play on the edge. They take Anthony Hill Jr., they put him on the edge. He can play off the ball. I like what they can kind of do with Barron Sorrell inside, outside. The defense shows good flexibility with where they can line guys up and hurt you different ways.
I like their group defensively. I think they're stouter on the inside than I anticipated. Linebackers a strength. But I will admit, I am not yet 100% sold that they're better in the back end. I don't know who's challenged them yet.
That's true, but they were asked to. I mean, the man coverage that they were in. I know who was playing wide receiver.
That's a big.
But they were in phase. They covered well in that game.
They did. I don't disagree. But here's the problem: is I think I could cover at least the third best receiver available for Oklahoma, and I'm not known for my quickness. I do have some length. I do have some power.
I don't know about the coverage skills, but
if you get off the ball, I'm in trouble. But I might be able to press you.
Okay.
So I that's the problem is I don't think, and like we all felt great about Ohio State secondary until they ran into a couple of dudes that can fly, and Denzel Burke all of a sudden became real human, giving up 180 yards through the air to just one guy. So I think you feel great about your weapons until you face weapons, or you feel great about your DBs until you face weapons, and then you get exposed. So they might not. They'll play them this week, and they might not get got, and then we eliminate all doubt. But right now they're untested. So we'll see what happens.
On the other side, where does Oklahoma go from here? The offense, just nothing. That Texas defense, good. And you give them credit for that. But it's tough to see a lot of growth. It's tough to see a lot of where it's going to go. 237 yards in the game, 415 on third down, rushed for 89 yards. And listen, the offensive line's beat up. We get it. The wide receivers are beat up. We get it. But you got to start finding some things that you can make a living on. And I feel like it's more things that the quarterback has options to utilize his legs, moving the pocket a little bit more. I've said, pulling guys away from the line of scrimmage some. Do you see any sort of hope for this Oklahoma offense moving forward?
No, not until they get healthy. It's impossible right now to get a gauge on what they are. They don't have dudes. They don't have weapons. And you can't. What have we said now for a couple of years? And it really started, probably 7-8 years ago. Like it used to be receivers were a dime a dozen. Now they're not. It's a very impactful and important position. Very important. Because a lot of these guys won't be single covered. They can't be. So if they don't have dudes, they can't run it. And if they can't run it, they're going to put all the pressure on their quarterback, who's a true freshman and standing behind a leaky offensive line. Like there's no hope. So yeah, I think they got to get healthy. But the good news is like a lot of their guys are not done for the season. I mean, there's still hope because they can get better, but
then you got to start worrying about your record. And then are they even going to want to come back and play? I know that sounds crazy, but that's kind of where we are. Unfortunately, it's just kind of what it is in today's college football. You know what you're going to get from some guys when the season looks like it's over as far as the postseason or playoff or national championship may be concerned. season's never over at Bromberg, so always great gifts you can go in there and get.
Yeah, they do a great job. And Bromberg's has made it special for my family for a long time. Very grateful to them for what they've provided. They have the 2 locations and they continue to set the standard in fine jewelry, watches, giftware, and the best in customer service. Now they have some buying events coming up that you need to circle on October 17th at the Summit and October 18th at Mountain Brook. You can sell your jewelry, diamonds, watches, collectibles for immediate payment and receive 120% of your offer in Bromberg store credit. So I highly recommend making an appointment on those as well because it's going to be jammed. It's going to be packed. And it's the best opportunity to sell things back to Bromberg's that you are thinking about maybe upgrading on or trading in. So go and check them out on October 17th at the Summit, October 18th at Mountain Brook. You can always check them out online at brombergs.com.
All right, when we come back, some breaking news around the SEC and Big Ten overnight that we haven't hit yet, and then back into games from the weekend right after this on Mac and Cube in the morning.
Welcome back, McElroy Cube Look in the morning. Jocks 94.5, 8:47 a.m. here in Birmingham, Alabama. Tell you about my friends at Bill Smith Buick GMC. A short drive up to Coleman. Be so happy when you get there. You'll see all the deals that you have on the lot. There's deals just across the board. Like a 2024 GMC Sierra 2500. This is a 4-wheel drive, and it's upgraded to the highest level trim, the Ultimate Denali, which is just beautiful. $96,535 is the list price. They'll take $9,000 off that sticker, and you'll get it for $87,500. Plus, to make it even sweeter, 3.9%, for 48 months. Deals like that keep people coming back. That's why 75% of their business is repeat customers, because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. Take the short drive to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. You can also shop online. Have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuick.com.
All right, let's go to the Buyers Right Hotline. Welcome in Jason Swain, always VFL, former Tennessee wide receiver. Now does radio in Knoxville, does sideline for Tennessee football games as well. Why are more Tennessee fans not happy about getting a win against Florida over the weekend?
Playing too many video games, Cole. That's probably
It's a problem.
That's probably the best answer I can give you. Only in video games where you're not happy you threw the ball for 500 yards and had 800 yards of offense, even though you win. That's the only explanation I can give you. I thought the objective was to win the game, and Tennessee hasn't had a lot of wins versus Florida, so I'll be happy just to get them. And so I'm thrilled with how the defense has played. You had a significant injury with Kenan Peely, which emotionally can zap you, but this team was able to bounce back from that and find a way to win. I mean, Florida was 3 out of 6 in the red zone, had a great play from Pierce, had another red zone stop right before the half. I mean, if you like offensive football, that's all you like, then obviously that game wasn't for you. But if you are a true football fan, then there was a lot of beauty in that game as well, too.
I thought it was, look, you play your rival. I know it's at home. You had a lot of self-inflicted mistakes. I don't think you can be too mad about it, but I am starting to notice a concerning trend with Nico. And Nico seemingly won't keep his eyes downfield. I mean, he seems like he's scanning on every play, doesn't really know where to go with it. He's kind of guessing. He's kind of predetermining. He's staring things down. Now, I know he's a freshman. There's going to be some growing pains. I get that. But some of the things that he's doing right now are difficult to coach out of. So how do you get things figured out at quarterback?
Well, I think the protection has affected Nico more than you would like. I mean, we saw Nico throw the ball with a clean pocket, and we've seen him over the last couple of games either exit the pocket too quick or not have time and be hit and fumbled. That happened in the OU game. We've seen him miss some throws. He's a very accurate thrower of the football, but we've seen him be affected by the pass rush. And sometimes you start seeing ghosts. The pass rush can affect you. I think if you're Joey Halsley, the quarterback coach, Josh Heupel, you got to find ways to get him set down, look at the film, and reassure him that, hey, man, there are times when you got to stand in there, take a hit, but still deliver the football. There are times when, hey, it breaks down. You got to use your legs and run. At the end of the day, man, he's still a true freshman. He's very talented, but I think he needs to play better along with the offensive line and everyone else doing their job too for this offense to have more explosive plays. I'm not used to seeing Tennessee not score a point in a half of football. That's happened the last 2 games for Tennessee.
Jason Swain joining us on the Buyers Right Hotline, does sideline for Tennessee, does radio in Knoxville. Kenan Peely was one of the 3 guys I said before the season that they couldn't lose, quarterback aside, just because I didn't think they had a lot of other guys like him. Dylan Sampson, Cooper Mays would have been the other guys. What is next at linebacker for Tennessee?
Well, you look at Jeremiah Thielander. He's a guy that played as a freshman last year, very athletic, more athletic than people give him credit for. They said the same thing about Kenan Peely when he transferred from BYU. Peely was more athletic than people gave him credit for. Thielander is right there with Peely. Now, Peely has a lot of experience. Thielander is a true sophomore, but Thielander is the son of a high school coach, so he's going to know where to be. Josh Heupel and company need to figure out who's going to have the communication inside their helmet. Heupel said on Monday that they're still kind of figuring it out, but this linebacker group cannot afford another injury at all, or it really gets dicey.
What about the secondary? Obviously, the numbers have been good. The pass rush has been good. The Arkansas game feels a little bit like a blip on the radar, but you look at last week, Mertz was in a nice rhythm early in the game before getting injured. Is there reason to be concerned about the secondary, given the offense and the firepower they'll face this week?
Yeah, I thought the secondary bounced back. I thought McCoy was in position in the Arkansas game. I just thought the Arkansas receivers made some really good plays, and Green just had some great throws. I was looking to see if the secondary would bounce back against Florida. I thought McCoy bounced back, had a 4th down stop on the slant route. Just couldn't play it any better. Mertz did do a good job. I mean, he's a hell of a player. He was a hell of a player last year for him. I hate that he went out and he had a good game for them versus Tennessee. But I did think the secondary played better. I thought the pass rush complemented the secondary a lot better versus Florida too. But they're going to have a tremendous challenge because Milroe's a better thrower of the football. Ryan Williams is an absolute freak. And in no circumstance should you leave the game with him only having 4 catches, 32 yards like the South Carolina game. So I expect Alabama to get him the ball. Nick Sheridan, a former Tennessee GA, big fan of his, happy for him that he's having success that he's having with his opportunity at Alabama. I know Nick Sheridan wants to get Ryan Williams the ball, man. He is a special talent.
All right, so just this game in general, what does it mean emotionally? what is it going to be? 2:30 Saturday on ABC, right there on Rocky Top.
Well, you tweeted out a video clip of a video shaking, and that was at the end of the Florida game. And I couldn't hear myself think at the end of that one. There was some nervous energy though early in that football game. There's clips of a young man dancing, and that really helped the crowd loosen up a little bit. But I expect the crowd to be very, very, very involved, raucous. 2 years ago, I mean, this place was unbelievable. You couldn't hear yourself think. You could actually feel the stadium shaking. I think it is Tennessee's responsibility to make some plays early. First drive versus Florida, you had to fumble, and that place was ready to explode in the first quarter. But you turned the ball over. Florida was able to drive, and so the crowd just really didn't get going early like you wanted to get going. So I think it's Tennessee's responsibility to make sure that they make some plays early, whether it's offense, defense, special teams, to allow the crowd to be in the game from start.
What do you think is, well, I mean, in the event in which they lose this week and or win, whatever. I mean, I know they win, the reaction's like, we're the greatest thing ever. We're back. Heupel's back. But if they come up short at home, what will the reaction be for Tennessee's program?
Greg, people are going to be pissed. The same way people are pissed down there for Bama losing to Vandy. People have been still upset about this team losing to Arkansas. I mean, Alabama has been the gold standard for the last 2 decades with Nick Saban. But Saban's not there anymore. Alabama is not the same dominant defensive team. Discipline doesn't look like it's where it used to be, and so there's more parity in the SEC. More teams can get beat. And so no one's going to look at this game if Tennessee comes up short as a moral victory. People are going to be upset about it because Tennessee's fans feel like they can win this one.
Hey, Jason, great stuff, man. Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate it. We know it's a big week there in Knoxville, big week here in Alabama as well. And we look forward to having you back soon.
Let's do it, Greg. I'm going to see you Saturday, man. I'm going to give you a big hug.
Look forward to it, buddy. It's going to be fun.
Jason Swain, VFL, joining us on the Buyers Right Hotline. Covers the Tennessee Volunteers, played there, does sideline for the radio broadcast of Tennessee football. And that is, did you watch the Florida-Tennessee film?
Oh, yeah.
You notice at the end the coach's tape shaking? Like you
No, I wasn't paying that close
attention. You literally
to it, no.
can't see that. You can't make out the numbers of the guys late in the game because it's vibrating because it was so loud on Rocky Top. Pretty cool to see.
They're back.
Did they go anywhere?
Maybe.
Oh. All right, we'll be back after this with Russ Brandon to give us some updates on the UFL next on Jocks 94.5. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Kublik in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. 9 o'clock, hour number 3 underway. Going to keep talking football, talk a little bit different brand of football. Talk about the UFL. It's going to be back. Obviously, a lot of reasons here in Birmingham to be excited about it. Russ Brandon going to join us now on the Buyers Right Hotline to discuss what's coming up. I know season tickets, Russ, go on sale today for UFL fans. That's exciting as you have an opportunity to go ahead and grab those as we get set for year 2 of the UFL.
Absolutely. Hope all's well. Yeah, we're going on sale with seasons today. New seasons. We've been in the renewal phase for the last couple months, and we want everyone to come out and see your three-peat champion Birmingham Stallions. See if they can make it a four-peat.
So what do we have in store for this season? Is there anything that's new that you guys are storyboarding at the moment?
Yeah, we have a lot going on. David Martin, who runs the Stallions there day to day, and the front office, who does an amazing job. We're going through all of our plans. Have a big meeting in a couple weeks up here in New York to go through all the thematics of the season in each of our markets. But you know, the atmosphere in the building there was outstanding, has been outstanding. We want people to come out and enjoy the opportunity to watch Stallion football. It's super affordable, and we want people to come out and be a part of it. Been a great setup there for the last few years. Coach Holtz does an amazing job. Zach Parter, the GM, just reloads every year. So, you know one thing, the Stallions will be super competitive, and it's a great atmosphere for families, friends to come out and watch great football.
I don't think anybody doubts that. Russ Brandon joining us to talk UFL today. Not only do season tickets go on sale, but things are going to be a little bit different for you all because you're a little bit further ahead of the curve here. Last year, the merger was kind of still in talks. There wasn't a lot of, I guess, understanding of what was going to take place, how it was going to look, what was it going to be. How much easier is it going to be to just get things set in stone before the season actually begins versus where you guys were a season ago?
It's a blessing, to be honest with you. A year ago today, we were still months away from the merger being completed, and legally we really couldn't do much together. So, you know, the merger came together on January 13th, and we were at training camp on February 28th and kicked off the season on March 28th. So we were drinking out of the proverbial fire hose last year, just trying to get everything logistically and operationally up and running. Even though we had the legacy XFL and USFL, there was still a lot to put together. So to have a full off season of planning, we've all been welcoming that, and we've been very active. As you know, I call the regular season is a routine, and in the non-playing seasons when you get all your work and planning done. So we're right in the midst of it, and really looking forward to bringing another exciting year of Stallion football down to Birmingham.
What, from a logistics standpoint, I know things have adjusted ever so slightly, but are we aware at the moment what the postseason looks like, what dates, where the championship's going to be played, things like that, so people can start to look forward to those things?
Yeah, we know this. We're going to kick off our season on March 28th, and we're going to still have a 10-week regular season, a week of playoffs, and the championship game on June 14th. We're putting the finishing touches on that location. But that's really the season schedule. You know, we're looking at everything. We're planning for 26 and beyond as well. So as we've talked about, you know, building this the right way, this league is here for the long term. You know, that's any talk. And I understand why people have brought up the narrative over time, but that's all in the rearview mirror. You know, our ownership group of Fox and Redbird Capital, Dwayne Johnson, Danny Garcia, Disney are incredibly passionate and supportive of what we're building here, working closely with the NFL, as you know, on a variety of activations and technology and innovations. And we've seen 90 players sign in the off season. So, you know, that part of the football ecosystem has worked very well, and we look forward to continue to build upon that.
What kind of feedback are you getting from NFL teams with those players that have come into camps, as far as just maybe how it's benefited them, how differently they'll look at the league moving forward?
You know, it's a great question. It's been very well received. We put out a release about a month ago about UFL to NFL. We had 260 players work out, 90 signings. We have a couple dozen players on rosters, including Birmingham's own Adrian Martinez. And they're ready to go. They know they have great coaching. You know, you don't have to look any further than Coach Holtz. But the coaches around our league that you know, Bob Stoops, Wade Phillips, Anthony Beck, Reggie Barlow, they know what it looks like. So in helping these young men prepare, if that's their dream, to keep working and getting back to the NFL, I think we had 31 of 32 teams sign a UFL player. So we have constant dialogue. All of us have NFL pedigree, and the relationships matter. But they know one thing: UFL players be ready to go, come into camp and compete.
Well, last year there were a couple guys. The last couple of years, there have been a couple guys that have basically foregone their draft process in favor of playing in your league. Do you anticipate more guys potentially pursuing that path, or going through the traditional combine, pro day, draft process, as opposed to getting live pro reps with your league?
I think you're going to see, you know, I think the combine in the traditional process will always be the path for most athletes, but it's an alternative if they want to go that route. It's no different than the traditional draft and the supplemental, where you see a couple players go through that process. So, you know, we work closely with the NFL, with college, and want to see our athletes take whatever path is best suited for them. And to your point, we've seen a couple players do that. I think you still will see that, but in the grand scheme of things, I think the traditional pathway is probably what we'll see on a more regular basis.
Russ Brandon with us talking UFL. Anything different from a gameplay perspective? Either rules change or just kind of trying to tweak something this upcoming season?
Yeah, you know, Daryl Johnson and I, in the football ops staff are always looking at that. You know, we had, you know, last year was a confluence of putting both the leagues together, and you know, the biggest one was probably the kickoff. Ours was at the Legacy XFL was a little bit different than the Legacy USFL, but you know, we're always looking at opportunities, working closely with Troy Vincent and the NFL group, and seeing what's the art of the possible there as well. And we unveiled our TrueLine technology last year on regular season UFL games, where, you know, for ball placement, that went over very well. So you can always count on us to come up with something. Coach to player communication, just the transparency that we have with the officials and with the coaches as well. So I'm sure we've got a couple things that we'll be unveiling this year that will, you know, we look at it from the standpoint of, number one, how do we advance the game of football? Number two, how do we bring our game and our content to the consumer in a meaningful way? So that's really our pillars and how we look at bringing our great game to our fan bases.
Russ, is there any indication that you guys having iPads on the sidelines last year directly was able to get iPads on college football sidelines this year?
Yeah, I think it's a direct reflection of that. You know, working with our friends at Apple and watching that, you know, just seeing how these athletes have been brought up as well. You know, I use in Buffalo, I've seen it a few times where, you know, when they were putting film together, it was almost video game like, because that's how these athletes have grown up. So, you know, just seeing them, you know, at the UFL level and Legacy XFL using the iPads and then watching it at the college level has been very meaningful to a lot of people in our organization that work so hard to do that. You know, at the NFL level, they still go through the traditional still photo and a process, and we'll see if that ever changes. But yeah, we're really proud of some of the technologies that we've been able to unveil over the last few years.
Well, Russ, we appreciate you giving us some time today, catching us up on the UFL, everything happening. Season tickets on sale today for fans that want to grab those.
Yeah, just go to the UFL.com/tickets. You know, we'll be at Oktober Bash on Thursday. We'll be at the Oak Mountain Festival on Saturday. Daryl Johnson, myself, Coach Holtz will be down in Birmingham for a few days here in the next few weeks. So we look forward to catching up with our great fans and look forward to having a full house over at the stadium this year. And we appreciate all the support and look forward to seeing everybody.
Absolutely. Look forward to catching up with you. Thanks for the time today, Russ.
Appreciate it. Be well.
There you go. Russ Brandon joining us on the Buyers Right Hotline, CEO of the United Football League. And of course, there's excitement with it here because Birmingham, the Stallions have been so successful, and looking forward to that continuing with some more spring football. He says March 28th kickoff, June 14th championship game. So get set for more spring football right here in the state of Alabama. I mentioned before we went to our last break, GMAC, that there was some breaking news around the SEC and Big Ten potentially. Before I get to that, tell our listeners what B-Dry can do for them, please.
Well, B-Dry can do a lot of things for you, but they'll make sure that your basement and crawl space are taken care of. They also can fix your foundation. They're the largest waterproofing company in the country and the only company that can stop water from entering your home all 5 ways that it enters your home. And they offer a life of the structure warranty. So as long as that structure is still standing, B-Dry is there to protect you. And to make things even better and to make it more budget friendly, no interest, no payments for 12 months. So you get the job finished and have plenty of cash on hand here for the end of the year festivities. So call B-Dry now to get the job done right with the strongest warranty and the best price. It's 942-1976 or visit bdryalabama.com.
All right. According to Dennis Dodd, apparently, the Big Ten and SEC, in a preliminary discussion about staging a series of non-conference games with one another that could enhance their stronghold of financial dominance over college football. Dodd says sources have confirmed this to CBS. Teams from the FBS's 2 strongest conferences could play as many as 12 to 16, quote, challenge games, similar to some of the basketball matchups that we get. SEC, Big 12, what do they call it? Challenge, rivalry, fun time. For TV purposes, media rights holders are probably interested in most of the name brands, but all the teams have an opportunity to be involved. This is something we know they met last week, GMAC, and it kind of began to leak out of some of those meetings with Tony Batiti and Greg Sankey. But if you're looking for different ways to generate some more revenue, putting something like this together and sort of guaranteeing some of these matchups early in the season could be a way to get a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd love it personally. I think it'd be great if we could get something like this, because if you look at September, let's just look at it from an SEC standpoint. Like, how consumable was September football most of the time? I'm not saying there weren't some games of intrigue, but there were not enough. So I'm all for finding any way to strengthen the quantity of the games that we have played. I don't want to see any more FCS teams. Doesn't do anything for me. People will say that's so harsh. Well, it's just being honest. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just being honest. So looking at everything, I'm really hopeful that something like this gets put in place and it can increase some of the marquee events that we have in September and the quality of some of the matchups that we'll have moving forward in the non-conference.
Is there any chance that this saturates things from a playoff perspective, that you're going to get maybe more rematches in the college football playoff once it probably goes to 16 as well?
Well, yeah. I mean, I personally don't love the idea to see a lot of rematches. But I'm going to withhold judgment on that because I'm firmly in the camp that believes that Oregon and Ohio State will play again in a couple months. So that game was pretty awesome. If it's got a lot of buildup, like, does it lose steam in the Big Ten title game? I'm not sure.
What about the semifinal or quarterfinal? If we get it a third time, does it lose steam?
See, but at that one, there's a championship on the line. There's a belt on the line. You know what I mean? Like, I'm concerned about the future regular season matchups in these teams where Oregon beats Ohio State, for example. Huge win, one of the biggest wins in Oregon program history. They go to the Big Ten title, and all you get because of that win is the opportunity to wear your home jersey. Doesn't change anything. Ohio State just has to wear white you get to wear whatever color you choose to wear, being the fact that Oregon seemingly changes their jerseys on a regular basis.
Metallic green chrome.
Yeah, whatever. Maybe Oregon, of all teams, could create a slight advantage there because their jerseys might be distracting. But what do they gain? Nothing. Just what sideline they stand on. Ohio State wins that. They get the first round bye. And then fast forward to the next couple rounds, Oregon plays Ohio State, and Oregon beats Ohio State again. So then what did the Big Ten championship really do? What did the regular season really do? Ultimately, the only one that mattered was the third time they played. So that's my concern, but I'm not there just yet because the reaction, the immediate reaction in the aftermath of a defeat is still very, very strong. So I think we just have to continue to press on that.
Okay. I'm glad you brought up belts, though, because I want to discuss belts, excuse me, in our next segment. But first, I'll tell you about your CBD store. If you are looking for products to help you with arthritis or anxiety, your CBD store can help. They have products that can help you with that. They've helped multiple pets in my home with some arthritis issues and helped them be able to get around just a little bit better. At the largest brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world, your CBD store focuses their attention on being the best plant sciences company out there. Hundreds of different extracts and plants, and they work hard to find the ones that work best, and they study the different effects that they have. First company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. They have the stamp seal on those products, so they meet and achieve a certain set of standards. If you need products to help you sleep better, weight loss, the Trim by SunMed is in stock now at your CBD store. Go check them out today at one of their 4 locations. Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cajun Cleaver, Trussville just off 459, and now downtown in 5 Points. Your CBD store where good health hits home. When we come back, more belt talk next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Listen online, jocksfm.com. App is in your app store, iPhone, Android. You can always download that for free. Greg mentioned belts in our previous segments, 9:20, Tuesday, October 15th on Jocks 94.5. The battle for the belt is tonight, 6:30, ESPN2, Troy, 1-5, at South Alabama, 2-4. But there is a belt on the line. 13th edition of the battle for the belt. Troy holds the all-time series lead at 9-3. They've won 6 straight against South Alabama, 7 straight with tied second longest win streak versus any opponent since 1996. That's when they moved up. Troy is 0-2 in conference play. They're looking to avoid an 0-3 conference play start for the first time as a member of the Sun Belt. 212 takeaways over the last 10 seasons. 4th most in FBS over that span behind Clemson, Bama, Iowa. But just 4 takeaways over the last 2 games. 0 in the first 4 games this year. South Alabama, it looked like they're off to a great start. Things were going well. They've lost 2 straight. Allowed a go-ahead field goal with 10 seconds left in that game at Arkansas State last week. Haven't lost 3 straight since a 4-game losing streak in 2021. Gio Lopez for the Jags, 12 passing touchdowns, 1 interception this season. That came against Arkansas State. 12 touchdown passes, 3rd most in FBS. So do we have a feel one way or the other in tonight's battle for the belt, Greg? Who do you like? Troy at South Alabama?
South Alabama. Right now, I look at how South Alabama played against LSU, watched them closely. They're a better football team right now than what they showed in that game. I think they can manufacture some points. They run the ball all right. They have decent weapons on the outside. I am a little concerned about their defense, though. I think they have a couple guys up front along the defensive line. One guy with the knee brace. I don't remember what number he wears, but he wears a knee brace all the time. He's a little short, squatty dude, but he's a handful. Problem is they play out of position a couple times when you watch them. So they got to be smart with where they're looking and locating the football. But I do think South is a team that's actually pretty talented across the board, even if the record wouldn't reflect that.
Keep in mind the return game for South Alabama have been pretty good. Jamal Pritchett leads FBS with 24.5 yards per return this season, 196 punt return yards this season, 2nd most in FBS behind Toledo's Bryson Hammer, who has 200. So Troy at South Alabama, 6:30 tonight, ESPN2. Also tonight at 7 p.m. on CBS Sports Network, Kennesaw State at Middle Tennessee. That is 0-5 versus 1-5. And also 8 o'clock tonight, La Tech is at New Mexico State, 2-3 versus 1-5. Not the greatest of records on tap tonight. You'll get a combined 7-27 with your 6 teams that are playing college football.
It doesn't matter.
There's
still Tuesday.
3 today. Meanwhile, we can't have one the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. 3 games tonight. Couldn't, kind of spread this out to where we keep football going for 2 straight months.
That's rivalry week.
This does not make sense.
All
right, let's get about it. We celebrate individual greatness once a week. Doesn't matter what your team did. We just like to know who put up the numbers.
About it.
All right, I'm going to start it off with a quarterback whose team did not get the win. Went down 50-34. I believe it was on Friday night. And his team also is 1-5 on the season. Utah State quarterback Spencer Petras. 41.
Went to Iowa.
Iowa before, correct. From 41 of 59, 461 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Who cares? He had 3 interceptions.
Doesn't matter.
Not an important part of the discussion here.
Not
7
important.
carries for 10 yards. But in a 50-34 loss, Spencer Petras put up 461 yards. Therefore, he is.
About it.
Love it. You always have like 3 extras. Do you have any extras that you're just going to go through?
Actually, I could go
now?
with 2 of his receivers also because Jalen Royals, 10 catches, 155 yards and a touchdown. Jack Hestra, 10 catches, 152 yards and a touchdown.
So
2 receivers both going 10 for over 150 in the game with a touchdown each. They'll both be, they can split one about it.
About it.
Love it.
Coach breaking up on us there a little bit.
A little bit. We got it. Did that not go over the air?
About it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it might have.
We're back.
Making sure
Back.
Perfect.
Got to clear us out.
All right. Kansas State. This one was a very exciting game, by the way.
It was. Unfortunately, I stayed up for it.
I did too. I don't know
With
why.
a 6 a.m. flight.
Yeah.
Not smart.
Sames. I love doing that. It makes a lot of sense. Always nice to stay up till 1:30 watching a game you really don't care that much about. But I digress. Still fun. Number 38 for Kansas State, Brendan Mott, had himself a day. Ladies and gentlemen, really, really solid performance last week. He played 49 snaps. He had 7 pressures. He had 2 sacks.
Ooh.
And also forced one other sack where he basically destroyed the right tackle and forced him up into his defensive tackle, who got credit for the full sack. He was the most disruptive defensive lineman I saw last weekend. So Brendan Mott, number 38 in your playbook, number 1 in your hearts for Kansas State was?
About it.
You bet he was. Let me take you to the Big Ten. In the Big Ten clash, the USC Trojans and the Penn State Nittany Lions. And there was definitely one guy that was show enough about it. I'm going tight end.
Unbelievable.
Yes, sir. Tyler Warren. 17 catches, 224 yards, and a touchdown, which he absolutely mossed on old buddy there from USC in a 33-30 overtime win. Tight end Tyler Warren for Penn State was?
About it.
You bet he was.
All right, hold on. He also was 1 of 1 passing. He also snapped the football on his touchdown reception.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So there was a lot more than just the 17 grabs, which are in and of itself. Like, I always wonder, what the defensive coordinator on the sideline, when you get to catch 13, 14, 15, what are your discussions at that point? Just, hey, he's going to catch the ball. Let's just make sure we tackle him. Like, what are you doing?
Let's just make sure we don't let him, nobody else can beat us. We'll let him beat us.
He snapped the ball. I don't cover the center often.
That's a pretty bold call, by the way, down 20-6.
Right.
Fair. He'll take it, though. He was. That was one of the better performances of the season, no doubt.
He played really well.
I'm going to maybe ruffle some feathers here a little bit, but what the man did cannot be denied. I'm going to take you to Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm going to look at the South Carolina Gamecock defense, and I'm going to throw out Kyle Kennard. I mean, that man not single-handedly. There was 10 other players out there, but for the most part, he kind of single-handedly disrupted Alabama's defense in that contest to the tune of 7 total tackles, 6 on his own, not VFL, TFL. He had 3 of them. 2 of them, he sacked Jalen Milroe. I mean, he was a one-man wrecking crew against that Alabama team that unfortunately did get the win for his squad. But while he was on the field, Kyle Kennard definitely was.
About it.
He was incredible. Had an awesome game, and Dylan Stewart didn't get a lot of the stats, but did assist in, I think, Kennard being able to get some of those pressures. But yeah, Kyle Kennard, I don't think any of us, Greg, expected him to be this kind of an impact player. Thought he could be solid and would help, but man, he's been past what just about everybody thought he was going to be in that South Carolina uniform this year.
Way past. And he was benefited some. I mean, just with some lack of mindfulness from time to time, with drifting in the pocket and moving that direction. Like, I don't know if like the individual take over the game dominance is necessarily going to be one where I point to and say, yeah, okay, he was ridiculous. Now against Kentucky, yeah, ridiculous. Even to generate as many pressures as he did against LSU was ridiculous. I do think that had you stayed a little bit more tight in pocket with the pocket integrity, it wouldn't have been quite as impactful, but he's still a great player, and their ends are definitely by far the best aspect of their team. And unfortunately, they became a huge part of why that game got close down the stretch.
There's no doubt. They are a problem to deal with. And it's they got a couple teams coming up on the schedule that I think are going to have an issue dealing with them moving forward. So I'll give you one more, just because when we talk about being bad about it and your team not having a lot of success, this may epitomize it. I think this is 2 of the last 3 weeks for this young man. In a 37-35 loss, Tommy Ulatowski, quarterback, Kent State, 17 of 36, 394 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, just 1 interception. His team's 0-6.
Ah.
They don't have a win. But Tommy keeps getting it done.
About it.
394 yards. So Kent State, that tunnel may be long,
Yeah,
but there is a light at the end of it somewhere.
sounds like it.
It
And
is.
good news for Vanderbilt. You get Ball State this weekend. Kent State just pushed them to the brink. So
They come
There
in
you go.
wounded.
you should be fine.
Wounded ducks.
I got another one for you.
Should be fine.
Luke Altmaier.
No.
Oh.
What? No, we don't celebrate Big Ten play on the show.
I feel like we just did.
That doesn't count.
We don't. He did.
Whit Weeks,
He balled.
linebacker, LSU. Now, a lot's been made of Harold Perkins and him being gone, but I think Harold Perkins' absence has now put more of an onus on Whit Weeks. Number 40, he was listed, according to ESPN Stats and Information, with 17 tackles, but it felt like 30. I mean, the guy was everywhere. And he forced a fumble at the end of the half that led to 3 points. Like, the guy was, I'm telling you, he's the best linebacker I've covered this year. And I've seen some good ones now. I mean, I've seen some real good ones this year. So I don't know where you would have him lined up right now, Cole, as far as like all SEC. I'm not sure he's ever going to generate the buzz because people aren't as familiar with him yet. But
Well, hold on. Who's an SEC linebacker that's been better?
well, I think people will just look at, names in the preseason and say, oh, those two guys are better. This guy's better. That guy's better. Like, I'm telling you, no one right now is better than Whit Weeks.
No, I mean, Danny
linebacker in the
Stutzman's been
SEC.
pretty good. I think Chris Paul Jr. has been pretty good, but they're not making the impact plays this young man is. Xavier Sori's been really good for Arkansas. He can burn, but I don't think any of them have done what he's been doing. I don't think it's really close. I think he's the best linebacker in the SEC right now. If you're talking about impact, making impact plays, and yes, he benefits a little bit from a system that allows him to be really aggressive. But you know what? He gets guys to the ground.
Dumas Johnson's had a good year. He'd be one that I think has looked pretty good this year. Chris Paul, I think he's been excellent for Ole Miss. I agree with that one. Whit Weeks the best one I've seen though.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's close either.
He's been awesome.
He's really
I
good.
don't think there's any doubt about it. All right. That is about it. We celebrate individual greatness once a week on the show. Doesn't matter what your team did. Maybe you got blown out. Maybe you're 0-6. We're going to celebrate your statistics and you going out there and balling on your own. There is an I in about it. Technically 2.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I was trying to find it. I was like, BOUT. Where's the I?
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
Yeah, no, I found it.
Good. Did you find the second one?
I don't know. I've been up for 8 hours.
It's okay.
It's all good.
I'm
We'll work
wired.
with you. We'll work with you.
The grind starts with an I too.
I don't think it starts with one,
No.
but
I mean,
definitely
it has
has one.
not-
Definitely
has
has
not
one in
hit
it.
it.
Whoo! Birmingham Southern at its finest.
Hmm. When we come back, a couple other games we haven't mentioned Ohio State, Oregon yet. We promised you yesterday we would hit that game today. We'll do that next right here on McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. Pretty big win for the Oregon Ducks over the weekend for a lot of different reasons, really. Before we get into that one, 9:37 a.m. Tuesday, October 15th. Damien, if folks have any questions about real estate, who should they call?
My buddy Ben Hedney of the Beham Realty Group. If you're thinking about selling your home, and when it comes to selling, you only want excellence, you need to give my buddy Ben a call at 205-568-2705 or go to BehamRealtyCo.com. If you're struggling to get your house sold because the markets are changing every single day, you need an expert that focuses on adapting at half the time to make sure you and your squad come out on top. That's my buddy Ben Hedden of the Beham Realty Group. You can visit their website at BehamRealtyCo.com or just give them a call at 205-568-2705.
All right, Oregon gets a win 32-31. They outscore Ohio State 10-3 in the fourth quarter to get to 6-0. Ohio State goes to 5-1. Dylan Gabriel, 23-34, 341 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Will Howard, 28 of 35, 326, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Ducks just barely outrushed Ohio State, 155 to 141. Jeremiah Smith, again, great, 9 for 100 and a touchdown. Evan Stewart, 7 for 149. The deep balls, I felt like were the difference here for Oregon, Greg. Dylan Gabriel able to hit a couple balls down the field. Stewart had a big 69-yard reception. Tez Johnson had a 48-yard reception. Terrence Ferguson had a 32-yard reception. Trayshawn Holden had a 32-yard reception. They found the explosives, and a little bit more so than Ohio State did. Quinshon Judkins lost a fumble in this game, which was massive. The only turnover in the game from both teams, and just 3 flags from Oregon. But what stuck out to you as to why Oregon maybe was able to get this game, what they were able to get done and get this win that you kind of didn't see coming?
First and foremost, I was surprised that Ohio State struggled to run the football as much as they did. I was surprised that they abandoned the run in the second half the way they did. They had just 31 offensive snaps in the second half, so it's easy, I think, to maybe get into, a little bit of hurry up random mode. So that was concerning. A couple other surprises. I thought Will Howard played really well. I also thought Dylan Gabriel played really well. Did not anticipate Dylan Gabriel playing that well. Did not anticipate Oregon's wide receivers creating as much separation as they did, and also didn't anticipate Ohio State's defensive line having no impact on the game whatsoever, hardly.
That protection from Oregon was really good.
Really good.
Dylan Gabriel, even when he left the pocket, it was kind of just because you could tell he didn't like what he had down the field or just kind of wanted to move around a little bit. It wasn't really because of pressure almost at all.
He was getting the ball out quick too, though. Like, they had a very nice plan. Like, they clearly knew that the longer he held it, the more problematic that would become. So he was getting it out very quick early and was decisive and was cutting it. And I thought he played a whale of a game. Probably the best game of his career. If I'm going to, knowing the magnitude, knowing the stakes, knowing the platform, that was probably the best game Dylan Gabriel's ever played. Hitting those deep balls the way he hit them. I mean, it was really an impressive showing.
And he missed a couple of easy dump offs in that game. Like, sailed it over the backs out of the backfield 3-4 times. Like, he easily could have had a couple more completions. Just kind of missed some easy little dump offs. Evan Stewart, boy, the acceleration on the one deep ball, just completely running past an Ohio State DB. Happened more than once. Is that going to be concerning for Ohio State moving forward? The secondary, yes. Greg, and teams being able to take advantage over the top?
Maybe not in the Big Ten, but I do think it is something to be concerned about when getting into the college football playoff. Because let's be real. I mean, Ohio State's getting there. I mean, anyone doubt Ohio State making the playoff at this point?
Let's just go through quickly. Nebraska?
No.
At Penn State?
Penn State.
If you go by history, then no.
I don't think Penn State, I don't think this version of Penn State is quite ready. They couldn't run the ball in SC. You can't run the ball in SC. You ain't running on Ohio State.
Purdue?
Now that's an interesting one, Purdue.
Is it? At Northwestern, no longer with Mike Wright.
Good teammate.
Indiana's
sneaky good, and they can throw it.
They could have a better record when they face.
Indiana can throw it. Curtis Rourke's having a nice year. Now, I've only watched 2 of his games, but both games they were lighting it up.
Indiana 6-0 right now. Best win, Maryland, maybe?
Maryland 3-3.
They hammered Northwestern.
Yep.
And then Michigan, of course, which they could make that a different style game.
I don't think
quarterback
Michigan
thing
is
not gonna let
equipped.
Michigan be able to do
Not
it.
sure Michigan's equipped to handle that one.
So it feels like Ohio State will be there. Let me ask you this, Greg.
They're going to be there.
Let me ask you this. Ohio State and Oregon meet again in the Big Ten title game. Oregon wins that game. Ohio State automatically in?
Yes.
John? Do you put, I'm not asking you what you think the committee does. And I know some of it depends on what other teams have done. Do you put Ohio State in?
They're not automatically in. I'll strongly have to think about it.
They're in.
Damien, you put them in?
Yeah, I'll put him in.
Let's see that again. Let's see it for a third time. Be good.
Well, just be real. I mean, here's the thing that always really cracks me up. Like, I put out the top 15 or whatever on the podcast every week. And people are like, oh, Bama's not number 6. Like, I have Bama at 6. And people are, oh, they lost to Vandy. Okay, I understand that. But who are you going to put in front of them right now? BYU? Iowa State?
Indiana, they're undefeated.
Indiana? LSU?
I'm assuming you have Texas, Oregon, Penn State,
Ohio State.
Miami, Ohio State ahead of them?
Correct.
Okay. Could you make an argument for LSU?
No, because their win is better than LSU's win. They have a win over Georgia.
Their loss is also better.
I don't care about losses. The committee hasn't either, traditionally, if you look at it.
Could you make a case to put Ohio State ahead of, or Iowa State ahead of them?
And by the way, is their loss better? 3-3 USC, 4-2 Vanderbilt.
It's a fair question.
I know that, like,
Listen, you know I'm not down on Vandy. You don't.
I know you're not, but I'm just saying, like, I think, the casual. If you want to consider yourself that, that's cool. We're good. I don't put you in that box.
Casual cold.
I don't put you in casual.
Could you? And I'm just asking the question out loud here.
Yes.
Could you make the case for Texas A&M ahead of Alabama?
Could. Yeah. They got a good win. I'm not sold on Missouri. But to me, I think the view, and honestly, I rank my teams based off what I think the committee has done in the past and what I think the committee will do. And the committee has always valued quality wins. And if you have an elite win at your disposal, you are going to get the benefit of the doubt. Alabama has an elite win. As convincing or as unconvincing as it may have been against Georgia, they have an elite win. And in a win that could hold up or it could not. I mean, Georgia could lose this week and then lose to Ole Miss. Like, that could go by the wayside, in which that's not a good thing for Alabama.
So something else is happening, Greg, that I want to ask you about real quick, and I need some help with it. Part of this is on one of the companies that we work for. Have you seen the 2024 All-State playoff predictors' recent numbers?
No, I have a hard time with it.
Here are the numbers in order of best chance to make the playoffs.
Okay.
Texas, Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, Miami, Alabama, Georgia. That's 96, 84, 81, 75, 73, 69, 68%.
Okay.
I think we'd all be like, yeah, okay.
Word.
Also up there, you have Iowa State at 53%, Indiana 47%.
Okay.
Now, this is not just this number. This is also, I've heard some other people starting to push this as likely, or they think a very good chance of happening. After Georgia is Notre Dame at 57%.
Yeah. Georgia, got news for you. Hate to break it to you. Notre Dame's getting in.
Okay, first off, they got to go through Army and Navy.
Correct.
Let's not pretend like that's just going to happen.
No one said it's a guarantee,
Okay.
but I've understood. Keep going.
The A&M win, nice.
And getting better.
Why else?
The
Louisville?
A&M win.
Louisville?
The A&M win.
Okay.
The A&M win is all you need. If A&M keeps playing good football, which
they're going to need Army and Navy to keep playing football if they beat them. Florida State's going to give them nothing. Virginia's not going to give them much.
SC might not give them anything at the end of the year.
Much.
I mean, I don't know what to tell
Georgia
you.
Tech to win a few more games.
We're not talking about a 14 playoff here. We're talking about a 12-team playoff here. And if you have a win
we're not
over,
talking about a very impressive resume either.
I've seen worse. They're going to have a win over a team in all likelihood in A&M that's going to finish in the top 15 to 20, which might be all you need if you are Notre Dame. So that's the problem with the 12-team playoff, is that teams are going to get in because they played a really manageable schedule.
Let me ask you right now.
Did you just say you're worried about Notre Dame and you have Indiana with 48% chance to make the playoff? Have you seen Indiana's schedule? Their best win is Maryland right now. And I'm not suggesting that they're not a great story.
Who's Indiana's best loss?
0.
Right.
Well,
Let's start talking about the other team's loss.
But we're going to look up. I understand that NIU is a bad loss. I get that. I also acknowledge the fact that like teams get better. That was week 2. I understand these things, and we're putting in flawed teams in the 12-team playoff. That's just where we're at.
Not saying that won't happen. But yeah, I just.
How about the fact that the 2 teams that might have the most impact on the playoff this season are Arkansas and Vandy?
Totally
like when
fair.
you really look at it.
We thought it was going to be Oklahoma.
We thought Oklahoma could have some say. We thought that Michigan would have some say. Like, you kind of look at it, and the 2 teams that might have the most impactful schedule. Vandy, who's already beaten Bama, but they still host Texas and Tennessee, and they go to LSU. Like, and do you feel confident in that LSU defense stopping that offense right now? I don't. I think they're better on defense, but I think that's a tough matchup for them. And then Arkansas, they already got Tennessee. They host. And if you watch that Arkansas tape, go look and see how affected Nico Iamaleava was by the atmosphere and how many offsides and how many false starts they had in that game, how many offensive penalties had them behind the sticks. Shoot, dude, they had a illegal man downfield in the first play of the game on a bootleg.
Yeah, I need to know Taylor Green, Jaquinta Jackson's status, how healthy they're going to be.
Totally fair. But they host LSU, they host Texas, and they host Ole Miss. 3 teams still
I get it.
with playoff hopes, and they go to Missouri at the end of the year. Like, that's 4 playoff teams potentially that they have a chance to bite. I mean, I'm telling you, man, it's going to be interesting for these teams.
Yeah. Well, if you're looking for a little extra bite, you lack energy, getting poor sleep, feel on edge, could be the effects of low testosterone, Game Day Men's Health wants to help you with that. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Schedule a free consultation. With that, you're going to get a free testosterone test, free PSA test. If you need weight loss, they can help you with that as well. Locker room environment, great feel, good people, not going to try to push you into any of their services that you don't need. They just want to help you feel better, and it's free. Why not? Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Set up that consultation. Get the PSA test, the testosterone test. Get a baseline where you are. See what they can do for you. They offer a lot of different services, and you can save 10% on any of those by mentioning Cube when you walk in the front door. Book that free consultation now at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. And remember, minimal upfront cost for the programs that they offer. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Tell them you heard about them right here on McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. Back with the bad box score of the day to wrap it up next on Mac and Cube. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. Get to our bad box score of the day here in just a moment to move on to that. But first, Greg, tell our listeners about Crocker Moving Services.
They're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. Whether they need your whole home packed up and moved, your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you've purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's crockermovingservices.com. That's crockermovingservices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
All right, get to our bad box score of the day quickly. The probably not going to do this one justice. Susquehanna?
They're the Huskers.
No,
They're the Choctaws.
they're not.
I'll pay the Stallions.
Choctaw? Riverhawks.
Oh,
They just snuck past the Keystone College. Don't say cops.
No, they're the Cadets.
They're not.
Lights.
Nope.
Oh, that's a good one. No, they are the Brethren.
They are the Giants.
Oh.
It
I
was
like
a gigantic loss as they went down 79-6
God almighty.
to the Riverhawks. 27 points in the first quarter. The game was 41-0 at the half.
Bad coach.
It was when you looked at first down differential, 31-14. Your rushing yard differential, 385-82.
Ground and pound. I'm here for
Now, Susquehanna still through the air, 16 of 21, 291 yards, 5 touchdown passes. Your total offense differential, 676-243
Ouch.
for the game. Tell our listeners about Polar Bear Services, Greg.
Well, so many things it can do for you, especially with things starting to cool off. We're going to have 30-degree weather overnight tonight. So make sure
Let's
that
go.
your system is prepared. Go and check them out. It's Polar Bear Services. They can specialize in your HVAC, but they also are terrific when it comes to your plumbing. They're also great when it comes to electrical. So go and give them a call today. And remember, if you have a problem with your electrical, heat, plumbing, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. That's 497-BEAR.
Susquehanna, by the way, 13 kickoffs, 807 yards.
There it is.
There we go.
Yeah. That's your bad box score of the day. We're back tomorrow, 7 to 10 a.m. 3-Man Front is next.